everything stated in this video is my opinion and my opinion only. And just like everything else in these cases we discuss here on this channel, everything is alleged. Hey guys. Hey guys. Happy Monday. I'm painting my nails. I thought I'd be done before we went live, but I have 3 fingers left. So I'm trying to finish really quickly before we get too far in. Hey, how's everyone doing? Thank you for checking out the little video. Hey, Gina. Hey, Lady Di. Yeah, I actually have never had Home Depot delivered. And now I'm going to add a mower to my Home Depot delivery order. Since I've tried to fix this damn thing, I've taken it apart. I've checked the carburetor. I've checked the spark plug. I've cleaned out the filters. I've done lots of things. And I can't get it running. And it just like, it used to start and then sputter die after like a minute or so. And now it just straight up won't start, which is why I decided to try to work on it. But there's no small engine shops around me for like more than 30 minutes. And it's just less convenient for me to try to fix it. So I'm going to end up having to buy another one. But that's fine. Hey, Angelina, have you seen Inton's interview with... Yeah, I've seen some of it. I have the original article that they did, so I plan on going in and doing like not a live review because I want to be able to pull up stuff that we have so far, like document-wise, while I'm reading it. But then I also want to go into their interviews and see if there's anything additional that they said that they didn't mention in the interview. I think I was talking to Lady Di about this in the comment thing. The only thing about that really like stood out was what they're claiming to have been this like hard turnoff thing that he did. And apparently this happened the night of all of this and like 3 times or 4 times prior, which is interesting. So it really just all depends on the context of what's being said, because I can't really just go off of skimming through. I can't really just go off of what everyone else is talking about. I've got to read it myself. And I've skimmed through some of it, but then all this other stuff happened. And there's just like the list of what we need to go over just keeps on piling up and getting bigger. But I can see that now we've had a restraining order filed for someone who really didn't care about anything. I mean, sorry, not sorry about it. Maddie's family didn't go to any of the hearings. They didn't pay attention to any of the evidence. They basically just did whatever the prosecutor's office said to do and they shut up. So I can sort of understand a little bit about why she maybe wanted to file something to stop whatever is coming out or whatever. But for it to be about just Maddie's bedroom and not the entire crime scene in general, I'm not really quite understanding that, because we're still going to be able to put parts of the story together. And considering that in Maddie's room is where the sheath was found, I don't like it. I don't like it for any reason. I'm sorry if that bothers people that, think that I need to be more sensitive. I'm not okay with a restraining order that only blocks access to things that show us the freaking sheath that got us where we are. That shit ain't cute. Plus, I also don't know like what else they could possibly be like releasing, because as far as I can tell, this is just for Moscow. Moscow already released photos to the mainstream media and whoever else was in Idaho that asked for them. Everyone else was put on the back burner because everyone else is out of state. But those photos are already out there. And they were already very much redacted. There's like pictures up on the wall that were blurred out that were just photos. Just photos of people. Family photos that were in the background of all their social medias, just like pictures and frames that they blocked out. I don't have a problem with that. I only had a problem with the fact that whatever they did to Ethan's picture of him supposedly being in Xana's bed did not match what we were being told, because his legs were not hanging over it. The bed was flush up against the wall, so there's no way that his head was stuck in between the side of the bed and the wall. Their descriptions aren't matching the pictures, and that's the problem here. So while I sort of get it, I don't at the same time, because this is someone who, again, didn't go to any hearings, didn't pay attention to evidence, just did her own thing and stood in the background and didn't just basically did what she was told. So there's that. I'm going to go ahead and open this so that we can read what was sent out from Moscow. If it was for all of it, then I really would be like, okay, well, let's see what they do. But since she's being so specific about just this one thing, and again, this is where the knife sheath was found, this shouldn't honestly be allowed. Like, they should just have to like super be careful about what they let out if they don't want wherever they're on the bed out. But when it comes to where that sheath was found and the way that it was actually there, show us just the sheath laying up against her thigh or up against her hip, whichever freaking direction it actually was, because their descriptions are all different. Just show us that. It just has to show us the square of nothing else that shows us exactly where the sheath was. Because if there was a comforter, if there were blankets, if there was all these things and it was under a blanket, that means somebody went in there and moved some shit around before the coroner got there. And that is a no-no. So yeah, no, we need to see those photos. That's the only way that the story can actually maybe being pieced together a little bit, is by seeing what this thing actually looked like, where it really truly was, because no one's telling the truth. So yeah, I have a little bit of a problem. Because how are we supposed to get to the honesty here if this is what we're going to have happen? So let's read this real quick, and then we'll go on to what we were doing. And I'll look at a couple more comments. Press release. Temporary restraining order issued for Kohberger public records release. Today, August 18th, 2025. On August 12th, 2025, the city of Moscow was served notice of a petition to the Latell County District Court for a temporary restraining order and injunction to prevent the release of additional public records related to the case, all the case numbers for all the places, on behalf of Karen Laramie, the mother of Maddie Mogen. This action followed the recent release of redacted crime scene photos by the city of Moscow in response to a legal public records request. Extremely edited. Not just that, but again, these mainstream people already have all of these pictures. We only saw like what, 25, maybe 25. I don't even think a full 25 out of like 200 that Moscow apparently released to these mainstream stations in Idaho. So if that's supposed to be all the photos, what are we putting a restraining order on for? Unless they actually had another wave of information that was supposed to come out. Because all this is going to do, which I don't know how it hasn't happened yet. I don't know how the remaining photos have not come out yet. So then it really sort of makes me question if the mainstream media is even being honest, or if they really just got like a handful of photos out of all of the photos and were told how many photos there was, but this is all that you're getting. Or they're going off of Snyder's report, doing the same thing that stupid old Brian Itten does. And he went up and, rounded up to 200, never is really like 180 something. But in reality, they only got like a handful of photos. They're not being honest, just like no one else mainstream is honest about how they get any damn thing. So we don't even really know. We have no freaking clue what's actually even out there. But it's been a good week and a half, maybe a little bit longer, since those photos have come out, and no other photos have come out. And I was talking to my buddy. I was like, there's no way that there is only mainstream people inside of the Idaho state lines that asked for those damn pictures. And if they're only responding to Idaho people first, then I know that there's some civilians out there that don't work for media groups that had to have asked for those freaking pictures, had to have asked for those records. So the fact that nothing else has come out is actually pretty insane to me. On August 15th, 2025, Idaho 2nd District Judge Marshall issued a temporary restraining order prohibiting the city's release of any images, audio, or video depicting the inside of Maddie Mogen's bedroom until a hearing on the preliminary injunction may be held. Judge Marshall found that major portions of what has been released did not constitute an unwarranted invasion of privacy. I mean, they're so freaking blurred out. They're so blurred out. They've used so many tools on those photos. You can't even hardly tell that anything matches. That's the big problem, is they don't match. I don't know if it's because of the editing or the people that are actually writing the reports are somehow all living different realities, because it's honestly a little ridiculous. However, Judge Marshall stated that there are portions of videos and photographs in their redacted form, specifically including unreleased body cam video, that could constitute an unwarranted invasion of privacy at this time. No, it couldn't. Blur it out. When they go into the room, if you don't want us to see how messed up Kaylee's face was, which I completely understand, blur it out. You have professional editors that you have on hand that help with these kinds of things that are not even allowed to charge for it. We found that out whenever that Garrett report came out. So if you're so worried about certain things being shown, blur it out. Nunez's body camera is honestly the only one I give a shit about. I don't care about the rest of them. I want numero uno that walked through that house, and then I want Warner's for him walking with Nunez after they escort Johnson out of the house for whenever they go upstairs. We need to see how it was firsthand before the rest of it, because we've already found out now that we've been lied to the entire time about when Payne and Blaker even got to the scene. We also know that this whole, oh, he showed up at 4:00 and then he found the knife sheath afterwards is bullshit, because Chief Fry knew about it before 1:00 in the afternoon, an hour after that whole situation got started. So they've been lying about the knife sheath, about almost every damn thing about the knife sheath from the very beginning. And if there's not a reason behind it, then why the hell is it happening? And people can say, oh, they just didn't know how to handle it. They don't know how to be cops. They don't know how to be police officers. The protocols don't change. The protocols, the way things are supposed to be handled, the way that the reports are supposed to be structured, the way that things are supposed to happen, it doesn't change. It doesn't change. There's structure, there's programs, there's protocol. Those things stay the same regardless. If anything, it just adds on more things to it depending on severity. But all of that first shit, it's all the same. So they can't say, oh, they just didn't know what to do. Yeah, they did. They instantly were able to call in people. They had ISP by 12:30 having a lead investigator on their way out there. They knew what they were doing just fine. They handled it just fine when it comes to what they needed to do. Nunez's camera, they can redact, blur out the bodies, whatever they need to do. But the way, the positioning, the way that the house looked, where things were, where the knife sheath is, where Murphy really was, if there was really bloody paw prints or something somewhere that we for some reason haven't seen yet, we should be able to see that. We should be able to see that. And the fact that they know damn well that as all these documents are coming out, that there's more and more questions, that there's more and more things that aren't making any sense, that there's more stories that are basically being pulled out of people's asses at this point. I don't understand how they would even be okay with this, but I'm pretty sure Moscow was hoping for this. They were hoping for this, because how else are they supposed to hide their bullshit? While the temporary restraining order only applied to Madison Mogen's bedroom, the city will not provide any further release of photographs or videos depicting the inside of any of the victims' bedrooms until the matter is fully reviewed and decided by the court. Well, again, where's all the other photos that were already released? How come all of a sudden those are nowhere? I don't understand that. Here's the link to this if you guys want to read this yourself. That's the release. Yeah, I don't. That's my whole thing about it. I find it a little ridiculous. With all the blurring. I find it wild. No, we have not. And that's one thing that I'm not understanding either, because that came from Xana's father. That came straight from Xana's dad. And he even said again at the hearing that he should have driven over there that night. Proving once more there was a conversation had between Xana and Jeff that night. And I also don't understand why we're not seeing more about the frat yet. I mean, we might in the ISP docs. I haven't gone as far as some people have, obviously. But we know damn well that like 50 freaking cop cars of multiple agencies were surrounding that frat house within a few days of this crime taking place. Why? Why was Sigma Chi taken so good care of, but we don't hear about the same kind of treatment from the sororities that the girls belonged to? It didn't matter that they weren't living in the houses. Neither was Ethan. Like, they chose to walk away. Ethan got kicked out. Yet that fraternity got all the babying, all the security, all of the attention. For what? For what? So the fact that we haven't heard anything is blowing my mind a little bit. Especially since, again, we don't have any proof for whenever Xana and Ethan actually got home that night. None. None. I found out when Birdie found out about Homeland Security. Oh, look. The only reason that even pissed me off is because you're not about to come out here and act like I took anything from you. Like, you got the wrong freaking one for that, okay? She went in a couple hours later and, like, apologized, and I'm like, I don't even care. Like, I honestly don't even give a shit at this point. You're not going to come on my post and act like I took something from you, and then you literally are wrong, and you have to apologize. For one, it's public record. Everyone is reading this stuff. And for two, are you not aware of your own times of doing things to where you're coming out and like doing that? I don't comprehend that. That's why I also stay to myself, because people are stupid and I just don't. Thank you for telling me, but I just don't care. I just don't care. Yeah. Hey, Misty. Hey, iRock. I don't think it lets you put links, bro. It's not going to let you put links. You're going to have to like, I don't know how that works. I know some people are able to put links, but even myself, cannot put links on things. So I don't even know. I hope it doesn't change Hitler's mind now. Hitler's mind about what? What was he thinking about? We're still waiting on the unredacted documents. I checked today and there's nothing showing up. So I guess they're still deciding. Hey, Kimmy. Hey, Michelle. Hey, Lady Lion. Are you talking about the Barnharts? Yeah, that one thing. I don't know what else is said in there, but that one thing is interesting. Hey, Sam. Oh, it changed your mind? I have to, yeah, we'll see. I'll have to read it. Yeah, there's a lot about the frat guys that are just like, it's still questionable, especially since that one report we read yesterday that said that one of the girls thought that had heard already, like it was already said and being talked about, that one of the frat guys that was one of Ethan's frat brothers was over there after the party, was over at King Road after the party. And then we have David B. all of a sudden being some sort of sober driver and magically driving around King Road at 4 o'clock in the morning. Yeah. Because remember, one of the things that we heard was that Dylan thought it could have been just one of Ethan and Xana's friends leaving for the night. So there's like 3 things that you can put together right there. Hey there, Miller Time. It did change your mind all the way? We'll have to find out. We'll find out. There's been a lot of stuff coming out. So much. CB. Who's CB? I feel like I should know who that is. Hey, Crossroads. Hey, Bluebird. Yeah. Hey, Holly. I use mine all the time. I have it on all the devices. My son has it on his devices. We use VPNs. I have 3 different VPNs all over the place. Yeah, the fact that they can even do that whenever none of these people are minors is wild too. I mean, I sort of saw that they could. There was like a time frame, but it was really low. I don't think it was a full 30 days. I could be wrong though. Hey there, Laura. Oh no. Well, we'll be here for whenever you're done. Hey, Catherine. Hey, Sadie. I do. And Aura has its own VPN. Aura's been Nord is just something that I use personally, that I use like a referral link for, like how pretty much everybody can do that with a bunch of different, services that you use. You can like refer a friend. Aura is a sponsor of the channel. They've been a sponsor of the channel for 1.5 years now, and they have a really, really, really good VPN. Yeah, that's just, yeah. I don't think we're going to be blocked from anything further. They're going to have to figure all that out, because even with, Megan Marshall herself is like, these don't violate privacy, but the body cam could. Okay, well, blur out whatever you feel like you've got to blur out. But when it comes to what we need, like what needs to be seen, like we really do need to like see this stuff. Yeah. I'm about to change it. Because it should be Jules with True Crime Reactions at gmail.com, but it's from like the way I had it before, so I've been wanting to change it. Well, that's what I'm curious about, because they haven't yet. They haven't come out. And yeah, the media does already have them. At least I think. We don't really know, because they're not honest. And they didn't. That was another weird thing. Like, they didn't try to like come out and be like, these are the photos that we have, and this is what they are because this is the file names. They just threw it all out there, out of order, all over the place, and just basically like left you to your own devices to figure it out. That's why I can't stand mainstream media. I cannot stand it. It's so stupid and unprofessional. I mean, it might be, but I'm the kind of parent to where I would want to see everything. I would want to know every single detail because you're not about to lie to me. You're not about to play me for a fool. You're going to show me everything. You're going to tell me everything. I don't give a damn. So while it might be hard for them, they don't have to get on the internet. Because right now, who's showing the photos? Not mainstream media. So if they don't want to see them, don't get online. And I'm sorry if that sounds harsh. This isn't just about one family. This isn't just about one victim. This is about 4 people total, plus the possibility that there's a 5th person that's being harmed here, because none of this stuff is making sense. None of this is adding up, at least for me right now, because I haven't seen anything that's changed my mind. Some people might have. I'm not there yet. I am not there yet. And then my beans are getting so big. I cannot wait to continue more gardening. I love this more than I thought. Like I said in the video, I'm actually super excited to get out there with my tin snips and my roofing tin and my 2x4x4s and my 2x2x3, whatever the frick is in there, my cinder blocks, my 3-inch screws, my drill, my staple gun. Like, I'm excited to go out there and start doing stuff. So yeah, I can't wait. Oh, I can't wait. Okay, let me jump down here and then we're going to get started. Thanks for the $9.99, Marky. Hey, Jules, could Dylan be using Vampire Diaries, even Ian Somerhalder's Damon as bushy eyeshadow? I mean, you mean bushy eyebrows? I don't know. I mentioned him yesterday whenever she was, well, was it yesterday or the day before yesterday? It was whenever we were going through Dylan's interview, because she just brings it up over and over and over and over again. And honestly, Vampire Diaries is so 16-year-old level when it comes to what it does show. So it definitely wouldn't be something scary enough to like freak her out. But when it comes to the person in all black and it being a guy, I did think that. I'm like, oh, so she saw Damon Salvatore walking through her house. Because what else do we have right now? We've got a 20 different stories. She's talking about, oh, he would have had to have scaled a wall to come through the door. Miss Ma'am, what? Are you trying to tell me that you were actually on the 3rd floor? Somehow maybe in Kaylee's room watching this person walk out of a slider? Like, what are you talking about that? And why are you talking about there's a drop off the patio? Like, the stuff that she says is mental. Because it doesn't even add up to where the 2nd floor is. It's all over the place. She's scared, too scared to go down to Xana's room, but she didn't perceive a threat. She's too scared to leave Bethany's room to go to the bathroom, but she didn't think anything was wrong. I'm sorry, but it can't be both. It can't be both. And there's more stuff coming out that looks shadier for her at this point in time than it does anything else. So I don't know. I don't know. Hey, Aunt Boo Boo, how can phone data not tell when they got home? See, that's the problem I have. Because they should be able to, like, okay. If Dylan can check her snap maps to see if Ethan and Xana are home, because she did that. She did that. Even after she literally with her own eyeballs saw Xana on the floor. She still checked her snap maps to make sure that it was accurate, according to her. So if she can do that, then I don't see how the government can't do that. And I also don't see how, if they would have been coming home, like walking from the frat house, how they're not on camera. The same camera that they're claiming Molly is on, pulling into the parking area, getting out her car, putting the food on the thing by the front door, getting in her car and leaving. They don't have that there, because I highly doubt that they would have walked all the way around the house to go into the back slider. You would have seen them coming up that direction. I'm not really quite sure like which way. I know there's like a walkway with some stairs that sort of leads up, if I'm thinking right. But either way, they would have like been seen on camera. Like, even if they wanted to go around the back, they still would have been seen on the camera walking towards 1122 and then going into the patio. So where's the proof of any of this, and why do we not have it? It's the same thing when it comes to, okay, so you're trying to claim that there's this camera that, again, saw Molly, the DoorDasher, doing all of these things. And then this car comes in behind her that you're claiming is Bryan Kohberger's car. But you still, with a camera that close, had to use Ridge Road to figure out what this car was? I'm sorry? Yeah, I'm sorry. No. 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 That makes no sense to me. Where's the water tower live feed? I didn't know there was one. I did not know there was one. So Mikey sent me some information the first time I mentioned this. He sent some info over to another creator about a year or so ago. And what he was able to find was that it was at like, I'm going to pull it up on the maps and show you guys. It's like 712 Queen Road, because the apartments are 500 Queen, right? And then the King Road addresses are in the 1100s. So the way that this shows, and in the cowboy video, those guys that are like walking out or whatever, you can really, really, really see this area where it was. So let me show you like the building-ish. It was one of the very first things to get blurred. Y'all are probably going to remember that once I show y'all this. Let me pop this up right here. It was one of the very, very first things to get blurred before they actually blurred the house itself. So it would be, okay, so this is where the house was. It would be like right around here. Like right around in this area, or maybe even over here. But this is like 712. Because this is the apartments. This is where the apartments stop. And this right here is like 712, 714, 718, and 720 Queen Road. Because if they're trying to say that they can see Molly pulling in right here, she gets out, she walks over, she puts the food, she takes it back, she gets in the car, then it's got to be right here somewhere. So it's either somebody has a ring cam, and I said this in my request. I said, if this isn't one of the addresses, then it might be over at the apartments. But regardless, I want the camera footage that you're talking about in this report. Gave them the report number, gave them the date that it was written. It was written by Brett Payne. It was the interview that he did with Molly, the DoorDash driver. And I put in quotations exactly what it said about her car going in and doing all of the things. I said, I want the camera that shows this. I don't care if I have the address wrong or not. I've given you all of the addresses it could be. I want this footage, the one you're referencing here. This spot right here was one of the first things to be blurred out before the house itself was blurred out. Why? Is it because there's a camera? Very possible. Because whenever you look at the video of the cowboys, they're coming out and there's a van and a news person right here in this spot right here. And as it's panning, you can see like the building where this like stick thing is, and it looks like there's a camera on it. They would have a copy of it. Yeah, I think they do. Which is why it bothers me. Because how would you not continue watching? Like, how would you not keep going and seeing like what's going on unless they did? And for some reason, they're not telling people what they know, which honestly wouldn't surprise me. It honestly wouldn't surprise me. Yeah, I already have them on the list to go through their stuff. That part too. Yeah, I have my locations and shit turned off everywhere. I have VPNs on pretty much every damn thing that we've got in this house. Yeah. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Is that where the stairs are? Or were they over here somewhere? I honestly can't remember exactly where those were. But see, it wouldn't even matter. If they were coming back from Sigma Chi, they could have walked this way, walked through this parking lot, and maybe cut between here. And like, regardless, they're going to end up on whatever camera would have seen Molly. They're going to be on whatever camera would have seen Molly. So I don't understand why we even have a question about that. Like, there's no reason for there to be questions about that. We should have the answer. Unless they did not go straight home. Unless they went to the apartments next door and then went around back and somehow they're just out of view. Because who knows? We don't have any freaking clue. It might have. It might have. The interviews, the 4 interviews that Steve, pretty sure this is it. Pretty sure these are the interviews. For sure he said this shit, but I'm pretty sure this was the interviews. Steve did 4 interviews before the Dateline shit that happened back in May, I think it was, right? I think it was May. Honestly, the date doesn't even matter. He went on Drunk Turkey, then he did News Nation, and then he did Ashley Banfield's, like, her own channel thing, and then he went to Interview Room. He mentioned something about the house's security system or something like that on Daniel's show. And we had never heard anything about the house having anything like that before. But I said yesterday, I said all of these things, all of these situations where the girls have come home and the front door is wide open and the back door is wide open and there's different instances and they don't know what's going on. Why wouldn't they have eventually gotten something? Like, it cost pennies a day to put a freaking camera in your house. It doesn't matter that it's 2025 and this was 2022. Ring Cam is $20 a month. They constantly have deals to where you can get a camera for like $50 freaking dollars, hook that baby up. And I actually think they have a plan that's less than $20 a month. But you can even go to Walmart, buy a freaking camera and put it anywhere in your house, pay no fees, download the app and use the app for free to be able to do what you need to do. You can literally make a one-time purchase and have a free app on your phone that comes with that purchase and not pay a dime and have a camera on your house. I also don't understand why the girls wouldn't have cameras in their rooms facing at least like their doors for who could come in or come out because of how many people were in and out that house all the time. That would be how I would do things. That's just me though. So he did say something. He did say something for the first time ever. And it's something that I've been questioning for a super long time. So I don't know if they had something inside the house, if it wasn't cameras, but maybe some sort of like alarm thing because the locks were acting crazy. But there was something, according to Steve. So I guess you got to take that with whatever you take it with. But all these little tidbits, all these little things, like we shouldn't have so much mystery at this point. It's absolutely wild. You hate your family because of Ring doorbell? That's horrible. Yeah, just go to Walmart. Go to Walmart or go on Amazon. They have like little camera systems you can buy, $20, $30. I mean, Walmart for sure has them. I've bought them before I got Ring. But yeah, you can go and just buy a little camera, put it anywhere, and there's just an app that you use. It doesn't have a monthly fee. You just download the app on your phone. I actually had I had like a 4-camera system where we moved from. That 360, that whole area, and I didn't have to pay a monthly fee. I got notifications whenever there was movement. It had an app. It even had like its own screen. I didn't have to pay for anything. But they do have little bitty cheap ones too. Solar powered ones. They have all kind. All kind. Thanks for the $2. Well, I'm glad I make you smile. I know I can be a little cray-cray. Yeah, but you can set that thing on like such sensitivity that the slightest breeze in the trees will make it go off. So I know that it's like motion, but you can make it to where it's going to pick up every little thing. That's how mine are. I don't know. I don't know if they had something or not because they haven't told us the truth about anything, but I know that Steve mentioned something about it. That's why I'm questioning, like, okay, was there? Because if there was, what did it show, if anything? Because even if it was there and it wasn't working, just like the doors freaking locks didn't work, like we should still know that. You know what I mean? Like they should still be able to tell us that. It's just insane. $3 a month. That's cheap as shit. Yeah, I pay $20. Because I have it to where like our protective order is on file. A picture of him is on file. Those kinds of things. Well, yeah, you do need to be careful with the ones that come with the cameras, but you also need to make sure that you do your reviews before you just go out and buy stuff. That's on the human. Hey there, Lisa. Hey there, Lisa. I can't have a ring cam in my apartment complex. It's dumb, but about to get inside cams. You should just put a pot of flowers outside and hide it in the damn pot of flowers. I would never live anywhere. I would never live anywhere that try to stop me from being able to protect myself. I be damned. I be damned. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. I've been running my mouth long enough. Running my mouth long enough. No, I do not. I do not remember that. Anybody else remember Olivia mentioning nanny cams? I don't remember that. I'd put it anywhere and everywhere. Yeah. Behind my garage, in front of my garage, behind my house, in front of my house, on the side of my house, signs everywhere, motion detector lights everywhere, on the fenceway, in the back, in the trees. Oh, yeah. I don't play. I put a camera in the peephole so I didn't have to stand in front of the door to see them. That's pretty smart. That's pretty smart. Yeah. You can't have it facing the outside. That's where the people come from. And that's where they run out of to be able to find where they went. Sticks that you don't pay for? Noise? Oh my God. Stupidity violates my privacy. Just tell them that. Tell them it's against your religion not to have a camera. Why not? That's a good question. How many times did she use that damn thing? The video with Molly walking around where are the kids' cars? We don't have that's not 1122. That's 1119 in that footage. Oh, that's you're in Portugal. Damn. I mean, seriously though, get like a pot of flowers and get like a little bitty cam and put it in your pot flowers outside and no one will know. Or get like a really cute, like, hey, put my mail here for me or something like that. And just like have it, stuck in there, sneak it in there. People are crazy. No, to me, it doesn't look like a thingy. I always say baklava instead of what the damn mask is called. It looks like one of those little fans, like, those little like $9.97 fans that they sell for like college days or back to school days that are like just these tiny fans that fit like on your desk or whatever. That's what it looks like to me. That's what it looks like to me. It might be what you're talking about, but to me, it looks like a fan. Yep, I already read it. I read it as soon as we got on here. Show did. Thank you for the gifted membership, Shenanigans. I am really just like talking a whole shit ton today. I know, me too. Like it's the only thing that I say. Like I can't say the name of the mask correctly, which is hilarious. Also, don't forget what we went over yesterday, guys. Whenever we were talking about the mask, she mentions cutouts, like it's 2 holes, like the pink mask that we have photos of her wearing. But the one that she drew looked like an Among Us character with like a huge thing like this, like missing out of it, not like the small holes. So whatever she's describing in one interview is not matching the little thing that she drew. Which I don't know why. I don't understand that. Okay. Let's get started. Before we get started, let me tell you what I'm going to do. So since yesterday, we went over to supplement 32 instead of jumping to number 4, and it's out of order. I've gone in and I've downloaded that one and clipped just supplement 32. And I'm going to end up cutting it out of the live and posting it by itself. But I'm going to wait until we get to that section, which will probably be tomorrow or maybe the next day, when 32 shows up. And then when I get to that portion, I'm going to post that separately so that it's at least still in some sort of like chronological order. So I did not like having to skip ahead like that, but it was completely necessary. But now I've got to get it back in order so it doesn't mess my OCD up so much. So if y'all end up going back to that live and watching it and you realize that it starts at 4 and there's an hour missing for where we went over supplement 32, it's because it's going to be posted standalone. It just makes more sense that way to me after, the way that we try to go through everything. Okay, let's go ahead and start reading. Let me make me a little more tiny. Okay. So this is supplement 16. This is from, and again, you're going to see District 3, even though District 2 for the Idaho State Police are the ones that did the majority of everything because they're the ones that work for Latah County. They brought in District 3. I'm going to assume because the majority of people that they needed to interview were in District 3, and it just made more sense for them to have an agency on that end than to constantly have their people traveling hours and hours a day. It makes sense to me. So we have him going and interviewing a 25-year-old white female in Boise. This is Lieutenant Catlin, this Mylar person. It says this person left the University of Idaho in May of 2021. She belonged to the blank sorority, and Maddie Mogen was her best friend. That's another reason why it's kind of hard to tell who's who, because we've heard that a lot of times. And that age uses that term so loosely. So it's hard to tell who really is who when they're all described the same way. She was also friends with Kaylee, Xana, and Ethan, blank and blank. I'm going to assume that's Bethany and Dylan. She became close with Kernodle the year before she left the University of Idaho. She had gone up to Moscow and seen all of them recently for homecoming in October of 2022. She knew Goncalves through Mogen. She had met Chapin once or twice through Kernodle. She did not know blank or blank as well. She'd only met them a few times. Again, that's most likely Dylan and Bethany. I think they're using Funk and Mortensen because they seem to be like, in all caps, everyone's last name. So that's what I'm assuming there. She received a FaceTime call from Mogen the night of the homicides at approximately 1:50 a.m. Boise time, so 12:50 a.m. Moscow time. Blank was drunk at the time of the call. This person was drunk at the time of the call, and Mogen appeared to be also. She would have still been at the bar at that point. The call only lasted approximately 1 minute. Blank was with blank and blank during the call at a bar in Boise. Mogen was with Goncalves at the corner club in Moscow during the call. Blank had run into Mogen's boyfriend, Jake, at a bar called Amsterdam Lounge in Boise. Blank took a picture with blank at the bar at approximately 1:15 a.m. and blank were also in the photo. Blank and blank were also in the photo. I confirmed the date and timestamp on the photo as being from the night of the homicides. She had been with blank and some of the other friends every day since the homicides. She had seen blank and others since the homicides. Who? Monday, November 14th, blank, and others had come over after they arrived back in Boise. Blank's parents met her in Boise, and blank went back home with them. Who is this? Is this Bethany? Going back home with this person? Because this is short, like it'd be Funke. I'm only assuming. They're not giving us a lot. The last social media post blank had seen with any of the victims was a picture of Mogen on Goncalves' Snapchat story. They were at the grub truck together. She knew the person in the video at grub truck this would be Jack Showalter. She did not know him well. Blank had a girlfriend the whole time. Blank was going to school at University of Idaho. That's what we heard from him too in the other interview. She knew Blank's girlfriend, blank, better than him. Blank and that girlfriend were not dating anymore. Blank lived at the Brown Apartments near the victims. She heard a rumor that blank has anger issues. She heard another rumor that blank hunts. Yeah, that's why a lot of people were like believing whenever they said that he went to Africa. No, he never went to Africa. When she was up in Moscow during homecoming, she went to the victim's house but did not go inside. The last time she was in the victim's house was December 2021. Different girls were living in the house then. She knew where each of the victims' rooms were in the house. The room near the kitchen was blank. The room by the bathroom upstairs, but still on the main level, was Kernodle's. So the other one would have been Dylan's. The room downstairs, when you first walk in, was Bethany's. The room next to Bethany's was vacant, but blank was paying rent. Huh? What? The room next to Funk's was vacant, but blank was paying rent, and it's a longer name. So somebody was paying rent on the downstairs empty room? Is that what she's trying to say? The room upstairs with the sliding glass door and the balcony was Goncalves. The tiny room upstairs with just a window to the balcony was Mogen's. Mogen is the only one who lived there for 2 years, and she stayed in the room the whole time. When she lived in Moscow, everyone used the front door to go in and out of the house. Blank and blank were called by blank and blank the next morning. That would be Emily and Hunter were called by Dylan and Bethany the next morning. Hunter went upstairs and saw some of what happened at the time of the interview. Blank and blank were in Mexico. That would be Emily and Hunter Johnson were in Mexico. She thought blank and blank called blank and blank. So she thought Dylan and Bethany called Emily and Hunter because they were a little worried. Their other roommates weren't answering. Dylan thought she heard noise. She heard someone in the house the night before and wasn't sure if that person was still in the house. During blank time living in Moscow, so this person's time living in Moscow, it wasn't uncommon for someone to walk into the wrong house drunk or to hear people up and moving around, in which case you might call someone you know instead of the police. Okay, but home chicks both didn't do shit. The same people that she called that day said Dylan calls them and says, "Can you bring your boyfriend over? I heard a noise in the kitchen," simply because a pan falls and freaks her out. But she's going to hear screaming and a struggle and hear all these other things. And Bethany's hearing and seeing all these things too. And nobody says anything. Not even apparently to their friend, unless there's more shit that we're not being told, which is totally still possible. She does not believe any of the victims used substances. Mogen and Kernodle were servers at Mad Greek. Goncalves was about to finish school. Since the homicides, Bethany and Dylan told this person a story about Mogen, Goncalves, and Kernodle going to Winco. Goncalves went in. Goncalves felt like someone was following her, lurking around. This freaked Goncalves out enough to go back to the car and lock the doors immediately. A man then tried to open the car door. That's a step further than we heard. We heard about the following around. We heard about following to the car. But this dude put his freaking hands on the car door? That's far. This happened approximately 2 to 3 weeks prior to the interview. Since the homicides, Bethany and Dylan told blank, this person, a story of Goncalves going outside to take Murphy, the dog, to go to the bathroom. There was a man watching her from the dumpster near the house. Goncalves called one of the girls to see when she was going to be home. She did not know a timeline of when this event took place or what time of day this took place. Well, it was dark. I remember the other report said it was dark outside. The weekend prior to the homicides, Mogen had flown down to Boise, and Blank and Mogen spent time together. Mogen never mentioned anything about this. So she went down to go visit her boyfriend? Or is there somebody else here? Because this is like different. I don't know. I wish it didn't do any of this stuff. I'm going to assume she went and spent time with her boyfriend, which would be a good thing to know, just for like, he had that with her. You know what I mean? Type thing. She was told, she believed by Goncalves' sister. I don't know which one, probably Olivia, honestly. Blank. Goncalves blank woke up the morning after the homicides with 16 missed calls from Goncalves and Mogen, which occurred at approximately 3 a.m. This would be Jack. What? 16 missed calls. That's a lot more than we were told. Wasn't it like 7? $16 is way more than we were told. It was like Kaylee 3 times, and then it switched to Maddie. No, it was like Kaylee 4. I don't know. I don't know off the top of my head, but this is way out there. 10, right? Like 6, 7, 10, something like that. It was like Kaylee, Maddie, Kaylee. Kaylee was the last one. And in between there, we just recently found out that Bethany Funk was apparently called too by Maddie's phone. And that all came after them not being able to find Murphy. After Bethany and Maddie took Murphy outside. Why Kaylee didn't take the dog? Probably because she had a stalker, and that's probably the reason why she stopped staying at that house. So in order for this person not to catch her outside, she had her friends take the dog out to go to the bathroom. And we also need to remember that Dylan took the dog out. Well, didn't take the dog out. Dylan opened the door and let the dog out to go to the bathroom whenever she got home between 1:15 and 1:30. So then they get home, and sometime around 2 o'clock, they let the dog out. Bethany and Maddie take the dog out. Bethany apparently goes back in the house, goes to her room. Maddie comes down to speak to her directly to her face about, hey, have you seen Murphy? Around 2:30 is the story. I believe, is it 2:27 that the phone calls start? It's in the 20s. Like 2:20 something that they start. I'm pretty sure. I'm going off memory right now. But it basically goes on until like 2:57, some shit like that. 16 calls. Why didn't they just tell us that number? Why did they lie about the number? That's insane. Goncalves had called approximately 10 times, and Mogen had called approximately 6. There was also text messages sent to blank saying things like, bro, wake the F up, wake up, or bro, what the F, wake up. Goncalves was known for calling a lot of times consecutively when she wanted to contact someone. Yeah, see, her family said the same thing, but this is like unnecessary. And there's no way that she would be calling someone 16 freaking times unless it was important. Because that's insane. That's wild. Neither Goncalves nor Mogen would call blank instead of the police for help. So they're basically trying to like eliminate the fact that they were calling because they were freaking out. They would have called the cops before calling Jack. I mean, if she really considers him like a child and they don't think he's a threat because he's a city boy that just plays sports and doesn't know how to do anything outside, then probably so. Just based off of the way that he's been described. Blank and Goncalves had dated previously. They were currently broken up but good friends. And what in the frick is this? Why do we have this largeness right here? She is frustrated by the rumors and random accusations on social media. And then it ended at 1:27. 16 times. That is definitely more than what we were told. Holy crackamole. I think that they probably thought that he, like, if this was, that's why everything with the dog is driving me insane. Because it's like an hour or so after the 3 o'clock hour that the shit starts happening, right? And in Dylan's story, she's like, I can hear Murphy, but he sounds like he's leaving the house. Like, he sounds like he's getting farther away from the house. Okay, so then when did you find him? When was he brought back into the house? Because Dylan's like, oh, Kaylee's playing with Murphy upstairs. When was he found? When was he found? And that really sort of makes me wonder even more, like, could he have been roofied in a way? Because if he was really, if his behavior had really been changing, and it was like somebody was keeping him to where he wasn't coming back in the house whenever he was called, which they said was recent and not normal behavior, then someone could have given him something and it took like an hour or so to like kick in, maybe longer, to where he was just like out of sight, out of mind, and then woke up later. And maybe that's why you hear him like freaking the hell out, because maybe he just woke up out of whatever it was. I've wondered from the beginning if somebody dosed that dog with something. That's been one of my original questions. And the more that we have all this stuff coming out about Murphy, I have way more questions, because where the dog was at the time all of this was going on is so important. Because the dog's either going to cower and stay the hell away from everything or be right up in it, trying to attack the person, barking at them, trying to snap at them, jumping at them, trying to figure out what's going on. There's one or two things. But for Dylan to then say it sounds like he's getting farther and farther away, that sounds like someone's taken the dog away. Because if he's barking the way that he's barking, I highly doubt he's running. He sounds pissed, if that's him that we hear. And all of that at the same time that Molly's talking about how she took her dog with her and walked the dog in that area. There's so much. Holy shit. Okay. Gummies? Weed gummies? Maybe. That's very possible. Yeah, I mean, no, I've thought about that too. I've never assumed that it was like a comfort thing. I felt like it was probably pretty sadistic. It was either sadistic or it was a secondary person saying that to somebody else. Like, to me, it honestly just felt like it verified more than one person, because to me, it's like someone didn't do something correctly and the other person's like, it's okay, I'm going to help you. Like, you failed at ending this life and you're struggling with our job here, so it's okay, I'm going to help you finish this, is where I sort of got it. But the other part could be like whoever did this is saying this to the person whose life that they're about to end, and they're being like just a sadistic smartass. It could go so many different ways, which is another reason why the actual thing that was said is so important, because that whole thing about it's okay, Kaylee, I'm here for you, that doesn't work. Blaker didn't even have it in his own PCA, yet apparently he's saying this to Talbot. Prove it, Blaker. If you don't even have it in your own report, then why are we seeing it in Talbot's report? I don't understand that. But it also has changed. It went from like one sentence with a comma to now 2 whole ass sentences to now a whole nother thing. Like, it's changed like 5 times. The specific wording is so important. So freaking important. But let me run another scenario by you for a second. I don't know how this could be proven or disproven, looked at. And this is going to go against a little bit of the stuff that I've mentioned before. But that's fine, because that's what an opinion does. It changes. What if Xana was pregnant? And what if that night they had taken the pregnancy test and what she heard crying was really Xana freaking out because she was pregnant, and what she really heard was Ethan saying, it's okay, I'm going to help you, because now they're pregnant. Because if you're just pregnant enough to piss on a stick, then I don't think they could count that as a charge. Like, I think the fetus has to be a certain term, like a certain term length, before they would consider it as a 5th charge, which is why I've been like, we would see a 5th charge. But when the wording started to change and the length of the crying and the situation sort of like was more described, I've really sort of wondered that. So I'm really wondering if there was like a pee stick somewhere. I don't know if we'll ever know that. But it's something that I've thought. It's just been recently, since the stuff has changed. Like, what if she was really crying because they were in the bathroom? They took the test. She's freaking out because, holy shit, I'm pregnant. What? Freaking out. And maybe Dylan didn't recognize the voice as being Ethan, because now suddenly Ethan is in a different emotional set, to where now he's not like party boy voice. He's sincere emotion. And he's telling her, it's okay, I'm going to help you. I don't know. But it's possible. If so, what you mean, if so what? Are you like insinuating that I'm trying to say something bad about it? Is that what the whole if so what thing? Please explain your question, because I don't really like the tone to it. Maybe she heard that on Vampire Diaries. Yeah, maybe. Maybe. Very possible. See, and that's the other thing, which honestly doesn't really surprise me. We just talked about that. That's why I said the police officer who said that to the person who wrote that report, didn't even have that in their own report. Blaker and Payne wrote all of the probable cause affidavits. Payne's was used in Idaho, and Blaker's was used in Pennsylvania and in Washington. Blaker's own reports do not mention a damn thing about anybody saying Kaylee's name. That's why I don't know why Talbot's report says it, while claiming that this was a verbal follow-up or verbal catch-up about the situation. So if Blaker is saying it to Talbot, and it's true, then why is it not in the PCAs that went to Washington and Pennsylvania? That's my point. Dylan was not drunk. Dylan was not drunk. Dylan hadn't drank for 3 hours by the time this stuff happened. And now we're finding out that she didn't drink an entire Borg by herself. She shared one with somebody who was extremely more intoxicated with her. So she can't play the whole, oh my God, everything was so fuzzy. I was just so drunk. I just don't know. No, you can't. So unless she went home and took something else, other substances, she's claiming herself that once she got home, no more drinking. So she didn't drink for 3 hours. She also ate a couple bites of the carbonara that the girls brought home, carbonara, however you call it, and she made popcorn. She had food in her stomach. So she wasn't drunk. She was not drunk. Full of shit, but not drunk. Bethany was probably a little bit more intoxicated. But like I said, I used to have a lot more sympathy for her because it really did seem like she didn't hear or really see much of anything besides the one rumor that we had about her seeing a guy dressed in all black run across the front of the house. But that's all changed because now she's saying, oh yeah, I heard a commotion above me. Like somebody was crashing into a table that mysteriously wasn't moved. Boom. Big light. Yeah. I don't feel sorry for either one of them. She was not drunk. Vampire Diaries can be watched at any time that you want to watch it because it's on every app ever. It doesn't really just like stream on TV anymore. It's been late as hell. I mean, you can watch it on Netflix. You can watch it on Amazon Prime. You can watch it all over the place. So like even finding out like what episode it was, it doesn't matter. The show's not current anymore. So it wouldn't be like an airing thing. Like with what's his face? Scott Peterson with the Martha show about what is it, lemon meringue cookies or some shit like that. They could do that with that, but they can't do that with this. Yeah, that's what I'm like. You just said that you heard such a loud crash over your head that it sounded like somebody knocked into the table to the point where you heard it. That table is like literally in the middle of everything. How are the cups standing up? I don't understand how the cups are standing up. You'd have to be like half of Dylan's size to be able to get past the table on both ends without hitting it. Thanks for joining, Hope. Thank you for joining. Thanks for the gifted membership shenanigans. Well, thanks for the 5K9. When a dog wakes up from acipromazine, they may absolutely freak out. Also for Payne's bark test, the dogs from Lewis County are GSDs, males, malls, and labs. Is that what they do that with? They take the dogs out there and have them bark outside and then they like check the decibels, I guess? I was wondering about that. No. I don't believe that Bethany and Jack Showalter even talk to each other. But then again, I don't know. I know that she got engaged. And the last thing that I saw was like a photo of her at a baseball game. Why was he supporting them since the beginning? He's known since the memorial. He's known since somebody stood up and read those damn letters that they were lying to him. He's known since then. So it makes me sick. Yeah, he's had him. He has his own Instagram and stuff for Murphy. I don't look at it. I don't really pay attention to Instagram. But I know there is one. Hunter said that? I know Showalter said he didn't really know Maddie. I mean, no, he didn't really know Kaylee, but he knew Maddie, which honestly didn't surprise me because they were in different sororities. So they had to make like new friends and they didn't always hang out together as much. So for him to not know Kaylee as well, but know Maddie, I mean, we sort of see that with a couple other people too. Yeah, and that's why like the dog bark in 1112's camera is aggressive. Super aggressive. Like a dog that's freaking the hell out. But it also sounds like so right there. So then you have to wonder, maybe it was so right there. Maybe he was closer to the camera than we're maybe thinking. Because remember, even though she sucks, Dylan is saying that as she's hearing Murphy barking, it sounds like he's getting further and further away from the house. So what if he was getting further and further away from 1122, but closer and closer and closer to the 1112 camera? And that's why it sounds like that. I mean, you just don't. There's so many what ifs. So many what ifs. Okay, let's read. Supplement 17. Same person. They went to the District 3 office. This is a 21-year-old white female. She lived at Blank Avenue in Moscow, Idaho. Her residence was in front of Madison Mogen's house. She was no longer in the sorority, but she lived with some of the Blank sorority members. She knew Madison Mogen, Kaylee Goncalves, and Xana Kernodle. She had met Ethan Chapin, but did not know him well. She was closest with Mogen. She lived with Blank and Blank previously. She went to Mogen and Goncalves' residence often and was with them often. She did not go out during the day on game day, the 12th. She did not attend the daytime party, but she saw them at the bar that night. She went to the corner club with her friend Blank, who must have a hyphenated last name, and she found Mogen and Goncalves while she was there. She spent most of her time at the corner club with the two girls. She was supposed to go home with them. But she had a weird feeling. Holy shit, that's crazy. So she got a ride home with a freshman Greek life designated driver. She left at approximately 1:15 a.m. That is really weird. But we also have to remember that Hunter Johnson said some weird shit too. Because like they apparently like never locked the door. We just never locked the door. But now he's claiming that around 3 o'clock in the morning or so, whenever Josie realized that she left her phone outside, that she went out and got her phone out of a car. And whenever they came back in, he locked the door. And Emily's made a comment because Hunter apparently never locks the door. Well, you should all be locking your damn doors. I'm so sick and tired in this screwed up, burning dumpster fire of a world that people think that you just don't need to lock your doors. There are places that have maybe 300 people in their entire population where crime is so disgusting and trafficking happens right under everyone's noses because people think it's not going to happen in such a small town. That's where it normally happens. I'm so sick of hearing, oh, it's so safe. You literally had a guy with a knife threatening people like a week and a half before this happened. What do you mean it's safe? You literally just had a girl have her car broken into and her underwear put all over the place in her car and all kind of other scary shit happen. What do you mean it's safe? I don't know who's telling them this. Because this is a mindset they're being taught. This shit's not normal. But then we also have David Barriocha claiming that something told him he just had to get home. Some weird feeling came over him and he just had to hurry up and get home at around the same time. So I don't know. It's all just things to think about. There was a weird man at the bar. He was pushing her at the bar. Mogen introduced her to the man. The man was following Mogen, Blank, and Goncalves around the bar. Mogen told Blank she had classes with the man. This must be Cole. The man kept grabbing girls' butts, and he grabbed Blake's stomach. He spat at them and others. That is a federal offense. That is a biological assault. He spat at them and others, and Blank was told the man was kicked out of the bar. Yeah, this is Cole. He never said much. He seemed off and not just drunk. So on something else is what they were trying to say. When she got home, she went to see her friend's apartment, also in the Blank, which was directly across from Mogen's residence. She did not hear or see Mogen or Goncalves come home, but she knew they went and got food at Grub Truck after they left the corner club. She saw Goncalves' post on Snapchat with Mogen at the Grub Truck. You know, we've never seen those. Somehow that picture is not circulated. She went home to her apartment at 3 to 3:35 a.m. There were not a lot of people arriving home around that time, except for a few people belonging to Blank Fraternity who were staying in the apartment where she was hanging out. She knew there was speculation about Blank. Blank texted Blank at approximately 3:04 a.m. to see what she was doing. Blank grew up with Blank. Who is this? Is this Showalter? Or is this, yeah, because the other guy, she didn't know him. She heard about a stalker, but she heard it could have been for any of the girls in the house. She has heard about a man that used to follow Goncalves on her walks with her dog and also had been seen around the dumpster. So there's another level to this then. See, that's another detail, because they haven't said anything about a person following Kaylee around while she's got Murphy outside. We've heard in the tree line, we've heard the apartments behind them, we've heard Winco, and we've heard the dumpster. Now, this person's also following her around while she's got the dog. Man. Mogen, Goncalves, and Kernodle did not use any substances. She spent a lot of time at Mogen, Goncalves, and Kernodle's house. If she needed to borrow something, Mogen would text her the door code, but they would often leave their back door open, so Blank would just walk around the back and go in often. Usually the people who went to the victim's residence were known by other people in the group. Blank doesn't usually go to the house parties anymore, but Kernodle and Chapin still attended them regularly because they were underage and could not go to the bar. She didn't think any of them had any enemies. She went to high school with Blank, not in the same grade, and she knew Blank through Greek life. She did not know either of them well. She knew Mogen had a boyfriend. She knew Goncalves had a previous boyfriend, Blank, and the current boy Goncalves was seeing was Blank. Blank was really nice, and he and Goncalves dated for approximately 6 years. Okay, so she's talking about the previous boyfriend here and how she was currently seeing this guy, but then she's going back to Jack in this last statement. This person, who is this hyphenated name? I know that we can find it. I still want to go back and redo all of the docs and like put faces to things. Blank left the corner club before Blank. She recalled from previous years there were people on the SO registry in the area, and then it ended. Okay, yeah, always check that shit. Always check that shit. It is a free tool. And if for some reason you don't know how to check it, you can call your police station and ask them, hey, I know you have all these things registered. Check my address and tell me what's within 5 miles of me. How many? They can answer you to an extent. Okay, so this is Hoxie or Hoaxie. This was done on 11/18 of 22. Interview taken at the District 3 office. 21-year-old white male. Lives in Star, Idaho. School in Moscow. No biologics, just the interview. Okay. He lived at Blank in Moscow, Idaho while attending the University of Idaho. His house was near where the homicide occurred. He also lived at Blank, Star, Idaho when he was not at the university. His roommates in Moscow are blank, 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 and blank. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6. Blank and blank lived upstairs. His house was all older members of the Blank fraternity. He only knew Goncalves because Blank dated her. He met Goncalves his freshman year when Blank started dating her. So this would be not Jack, because they'd been together for a long time. Blank and Goncalves' relationship was good. He never saw them fight or have a disagreement. Blank never talked about his relationship with Goncalves to him. He did know Blank and Goncalves had broken up because Goncalves got a job offer in Texas. So he must just like not know how far back they went. because they'd only been broken up for 2 months, so it couldn't have possibly been anyone else. He didn't hear until recently one of the girls had a stalker outside of Winco. He heard this from blank. He did not know if any of them used substances. On November 12, 2022, it was game day for the University of Idaho. He wasn't sure when he woke up, but thought it was around 9 a.m. or 10 a.m. He got some beer and went upstairs to his house and started drinking. He went to the Kibbe Dome parking lot for the tailgate before the football game and was there for an hour or two before the game started. He went into the game and left the game about 5 minutes to the end because the University of Idaho was losing. I mean, I've done that before. If my team was losing at like the high school games, I would just leave. Plus, you beat the rush that way. He got a ride from the football game back to his house from his sober buddy, a sober person from his fraternity designated to drive. At his house, he drank some more and watched the UFC fights. That's something else that they've mentioned a lot when it comes to people that the girls wanted to come and meet them at the corner club, is that they were waiting for the fights to finish where they were, and then they were going to be moving over. After the fights, he went to the corner club. It seems like that's pretty much what everybody did. Everyone he lived with was at the corner club. He saw Goncalves at the corner club. Blank told him Maddie Mogen was there as well. At approximately 1:30 a.m., he called his sober buddy to pick him up. His sober buddy got pulled over, and he didn't want to pile everyone in one car in front of the cops, so he called another sober buddy to pick him up. So is this the guy that was with the guy that we talked about yesterday, I think? The one that got pulled over for registration? So he called another sober buddy to pick him up. He, blank and blank, got a ride home from the second sober buddy. They got home around 1:45 a.m. He made some pizza rolls and went to bed about 15 minutes after getting home. Ooh, it's been a while. They had those little mouth burners. He was intoxicated for a majority of the day and did not remember specific details. He did not have any injuries on his hands, arms, or face. Yeah, that sounds like somebody that was with the guy that we talked about yesterday, because he did mention having somebody else with him. I don't think it's Barry. I'm not really quite sure. I know that he's claiming now that he was some sort of sober driver, but I'm just like, oh, grilled cheese, bro. I will cook all night if you don't stop. Like, I will just go in there and get fatter. I don't even give a damn. Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know what kind of freaking vehicle this dude would be driving, but I know that he is a blondish ginger. And maybe if his hair was cut short enough, he could spike it. I know that Jack is the same way. He's a blondish ginger. Could be either one, depending on haircut. But that person was in a tan sedan, according to Molly anyway. I wish we knew exactly what kind of vehicle he was driving. That'd be nice. Okay, 19. This is from a Kristen Noah working for District 1. Patrol trooper, so a state trooper. That's what it sounds like. Idaho State Police trooper, Kristen Noah. This took place in... Oh, this is a canvassing event. Okay. Canvassing the neighborhood area for security cameras on Conestoga Street, Cayuse Drive, Pinto Drive, Colt Road, and Appaloosa Road. Ooh, of course. That's fine, though. It's addresses of houses, I'm sure. I can't blame them for that. On November 19th, 2022, at approximately 15:01 hours, Idaho State Police Detective Leslie Lehman and myself, Idaho State Police Trooper Kristen Noah, were requested to canvass the area. Detective Lehman and I started canvassing the neighborhood at the junction of Conestoga Street and Appaloosa Road. We started at residential address blank and walked southbound on Conestoga Road to the intersection of Colt Road. We ended at residential addresses blank Conestoga. We walked westbound on Colt Road to the intersection of Pinto Drive. We walked northbound on Pinto Drive to the intersection of Cayuse Drive. We walked eastbound on Cayuse Drive to the intersection of Conestoga. We went back to the intersection of Colt Road and started eastbound on Colt to the intersection of Appaloosa Road. We walked northbound on Appaloosa, covering the two residential addresses on Fort Stevens Street, and ended at residential addresses blank, which was near the starting intersection of Appaloosa Road and Conestoga. I mean, I understand like them blurring out the addresses, but all we have to do is put the street names in, and then it's going to show us everybody's house. Okay. The following addresses had residence homes and confirmed they did not have security cameras. The following addresses had an observation Ring doorbell camera, but did not have a resident home. Did you go back? Did you go back? The following addresses had security cameras and had a resident home. I provided blank with Detective Lehman's contact information. The following addresses did not have residents and did not have any observable security cameras outside the house. So for all of this shit that they did that day, they got one person that was home and had a camera. And it doesn't even say if they got footage from them. Insane. Okay. 11/18/22. Wernsing again. District 3's office. I'm sorry. This is a child. Or what are they doing? White female. Date of birth year is 2022. Age 0. Juvenile, yes. What the frick is this? Moscow, Idaho? Where the frick is that? Homeland Security. What the frick is this? Okay. 2002 is this person's year of birth. They put it in the system incorrectly, and it automatically put in age 0, yes, juvenile, because they fat fingered it and got it wrong. That's what happened here. Wow. Y'all couldn't even fix it? Do y'all just not even bother? That's wild. Okay. Kernodle was one of Blank's closest friends outside of her sorority, and Blank knew Chapin through his fraternity. She was not very familiar with Mogen and had never met Goncalves. Saturday night before the incident was the last home football game, but there weren't a lot of people around because it was rainy. It was also in Vision, Idaho, so there was not supposed to be alcohol on campus, and there was not supposed to be a lodge party or an organized party at the Blank Lodge. Blank went to the lodge party, and there weren't many people there. Because lodge parties are sanctioned by fraternity sorority life, Blank kept a list of names of those in attendance at the party and checks vandal IDs. So the party where Ethan and Xana went to, this is the second time that we've heard that there weren't many people there. This is now what we're being told is that this party wasn't even supposed to happen because of whatever this Envision Idaho shit is, that it wasn't even supposed to go down, but it did anyway. There are apartments around the Blank Lodge. Blank went to an apartment, possibly apartment blank, during the lodge party, and Kernodle was in the apartment. Blank knew Kernodle to party pretty hard and noted Kernodle wasn't super drunk that night. Another friend of Blank took a photo of Kernodle in the apartment playing a guitar and posted it to her Snapchat story around 2 a.m. That one hasn't circled around either. Blank took a screenshot of the post. Blank recalled later in the interview also seeing Kernodle's other roommate, Blank, at the Blank house. Yeah, because for some reason, they have failed to tell us up until these recent documents that Dylan and Bethany and I think Maddie all at some point were at this damn party. Not just Bethany seeing Xana and Ethan around 8 and 9 p.m. and then there's nothing else. All but Kaylee popped up over there for a minute. Why didn't they tell us that? The last Blank spoke to Kernodle at the Blank house was approximately 12:45 a.m. When everyone was leaving, Kernodle and Chapin walked away, and Blank believed they went right home and did not go anywhere else. Well, that's not true either, because you just said that you took a picture of her at 2 o'clock in the morning. So how can the last time that you spoke to her had been 12:45 in the morning? Am I reading that wrong? Okay, another friend. Okay, yeah. Another friend posted a picture on Snapchat at 2 a.m. of Kernodle. That's still an hour and 15 minutes before this. Okay. When everyone was leaving, Kernodle and Chapin walked away, and Blank believed they went right home and did not go anywhere else. Blank got a ride home from Blank's sober bro named Blank at approximately 2 a.m. Blank said Blank also picked Goncalves and Mogen up from the grub truck and can be seen on the grub truck's live Twitch feed doing so. Eric Gower is not a damn sober bro. He's a grown-ass man that's not in the fraternity. What? He is not a sober bro. Blank provided Blank's phone as Blank. Okay, yeah, this portion right here is still a little bit wild to me because even in the Amazon series, David Barriocha is on there claiming that it was like 1:40 whenever Xana and Ethan were seen walking out of the frat house, and he makes a point to make a comment about how Xana says she doesn't see him over there anymore. But then never mind the fact he was just he's now admitting he was driving over there around 4 o'clock in the morning. He is an Uber driver. We talked about this yesterday. He was clocked. The Moscow Police Department records has this. He was clocked in to Uber on the clock to drive as a Uber driver until 1:15 in the morning. Then he got off the app. He does that. That's what they have been saying, that he gets rides on the app itself so he can have things to do and be in the area. But if some pretty girl needs a ride, he drops his Uber ride and goes to the pretty girl. 1:15 is whenever he clocked out of the Uber app. Yes, he is an Uber driver. He just does both and he's real creepy. But yeah, he is. They have 1:15 as the time he clocked off the app. But he's not a sober bro. He's a perv who I hope his wife left him. I've heard rumors. I just hope they're true. Blank went home at the Blank house and was hanging out with some friends. The group went to the Blank pie house next door until approximately 4 a.m. before returning home and going to bed. So did they see or hear anything if it's in that area? Blank woke up at approximately 11 a.m. on Sunday to go study at the Blank house. Blank said Kernodle and Chapin were not big substance people and said she had not seen them use Blank. This is a specific name for something. That's why it's blocked out. She stated Kernodle, why? Why? Why can we not read this? In this sentence about substance use, after they've already told us that some blue powdery stuff was on her desk next to her ID with a rolled up $2 bill, why are we redacting this statement? Blank suspected someone would have been going after Goncalves or Mogen and ran into Kernodle and Chapin. Kernodle was one of the most popular girls in Greek Row, and everyone knew and liked her. Blank had heard Goncalves had a stalker, but did not know the validity of that rumor. Blank thought the Twitch broadcast didn't sit with her well. She said Goncalves and Mogen look really uncomfortable in the video. No, they don't. There is a male subject behind them that looked really nervous, but Blank did not know who the male was. Well, the girls did, and no, they don't. They do not look anywhere near uncomfortable. They are way too comfortable. They're hanging and hugging on people that they're seeing and saying hi to. They're intoxicated and wobbly. There's nothing uncomfortable about their vibe at all in that video. Blank said Kernodle's friend Blank may know more about possible drama or conflict involving any of the victims. Who is you? Maybe Emily? Maybe Josie, maybe somebody. Blank said Blank may be a primary source of Blank on U of I campus and dated Kernodle at some point. Blank had also been kicked out of Blank and was not currently attending U of I. Is this a dealer that Xana dated? That was a primary source of something that got kicked out of school? Remember, there is somebody that said that Kernodle used to go over to their house to see one of his roommates, but that guy didn't go to the university anymore. I wonder if this is who this is. The interview was concluded at 3 p.m. Transfer of audio. Then this person sent a text message to this police officer and said that a man by the name of blank had been killed in October in Moscow, Idaho. No one was arrested for the crime, and she made note of the proximity to Moscow. More unsolved situations. Bro, I don't know. As far as I know, it's a stimulant ADHD med. It didn't do well with Ariel whenever she was younger, so we took her off of it and we put her on non-stimulants. But my ex-sister-in-law would snort that shit. And she did it for a long time. And it's definitely affected her brain because now she's on all kinds of shit and looks like it. I don't know. I was never even one of those kids who liked to snort the pixie sticks like everyone thought it was so freaking funny. I don't want nothing up my nose, bro. I don't know. And with drinking too, like I feel like I don't know. I couldn't even tell you. Like drinking relaxes you, but the whole point of an ADHD medication is to make you less hyperactive and more focused. So I guess it would just like counteract the drowsiness of the alcohol. I guess. Yeah, do you remember that shit? People would snort pixie sticks at their desk. Like, what the frick are you doing? People crazy. People are crazy. We do some crazy shit as children. Really? Oh man, it was like all over the place in elementary school. It's definitely been a thing. My ex-sister-in-law started doing this shit in high school. Me neither. I can't. When I had my C-sections, because I had C-sections for all three because Ariel was an emergency because the doctor was an idiot and we almost lost her. So the other two, even though there was a decade in between Slade and Dawn, I ended up having to have C-sections for all of them. They could not give me the pain meds they wanted to give me because they would mess up my stomach. I didn't like how they felt. You better just give me some Motrin and I'm going to go on with my day. Tooth pain stuff. I don't want your L's. I don't want your hydros. I don't want none of them things. Get that shit away from me. I don't know stuff about that kind of stuff. Not like that. Like I know what I've witnessed from being around people with issues and the trauma that it's caused me from watching it and being a part of trying to fix the problem type thing. But as for what it actually does to you, how it makes you feel, all those things, I just know what YouTube say. That's something I can't give you experience on. I don't want to ever be in a reality that my kids are not in, which is another reason why I only drink to a certain extent. I like to just relax, have the stress in the brick ass shoulders of mine go away, and just relax. Be comfortable. I don't want to leave the reality my kids are in. Who knows what could happen? I choose not to. Morphine, they did that to me one time, and I felt so sick. I felt so sick. I can still taste it thinking about it. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. But yeah, I don't know. I guess counteract a little bit, but if you're trying to counteract your downer with something that's going to make you more focused, then why are you even taking the downer? You know what I mean? Like, I don't understand people who mix downers with uppers because what's the freaking point? Again, I don't understand it. So we're just going to leave it at I don't understand it. And I'm perfectly okay with not understanding. I'm perfectly fine with that. That's perfectly fine with me. Okay. We're in thing again. And now they're in Caldwell County. 22-year-old white male. No biologics, just the interview. Okay. This person knew Goncalves and Mogen fairly well through school and Greek life. Blank went to the Corner Club at approximately 9 p.m. on Saturday, November 12th, where he hung out with a group of friends for a few hours. He listed blank, 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 Goncalves and Mogen. Goncalves and Mogen left the Corner Club approximately an hour before blank left. This person left with blank and blank at approximately 2 and went to blank and blank's house on King Street. Blank stayed the night at their house. So the two people he was with, they live on King Street, and that's where he went. They were all there in the area. Blank did not notice anything suspicious. He went to sleep around 3 a.m. and woke up around 11 a.m. While at the corner club, there was a male suspect with shorter hair, suspect, no girl, subject, with shorter hair, wearing a dark shirt and U of I cap, and later put on a white and black plaid flannel. He was being excessive and was paying a lot of attention to Blank and not necessarily to Goncalves or Mogen. Blank's roommate, Blank, was Blank that night and kicked the male subject out. This would be probably Jack's roommate. Probably not, though, because I was about to say Jack's roommate, Adam. But Adam Lanza wouldn't be this long right here. Blank's roommate, Blank, was Blank that night. So it must be another bartender. It must be somebody else. But we do know Cole got kicked out. Blank was unsure of who else was Blank that night, working at the corner club that night. See, this is the thing that drives me insane. Like, we know they're talking about the freaking corner club. They've already literally said it here. So why are they blocking that out? Because there's nothing else that sentence could be. He said Blank and Blank also blanked and were most likely working on a game night. Okay. Blank was Blank's roommate for one semester at one point. Blank had heard one of the roommates, Blank, had a stalker, but did not believe Goncalves or Mogen had a stalker. So his whatever story he heard was all kinds of tipsy-turvy. Blank mentioned an Uber driver named Eric. Eric is known to give the sorority girls rides home from the bars. Blank girls in particular, meaning this is one very specific sorority. Specific sorority. The girls contact Blank on his personal phone and pay him through Venmo and not through the Uber app. Blank had given Blank and Blank a ride that night, and Blank paid through Venmo. So this would be somebody else besides that. But we've heard him do a couple different rides so far. So Venmo. I wonder if she caught those. So Conspiracy had a video that she put out that had like all these Venmo transactions, right? From everyone. And there was stuff about them like transferring money to pay the water bill, to buy groceries, to pay the internet bill, or whatever was going on. Like they were transferring money for household stuff. That's how me and Heather found like the information all together. She found the Linda Lane stuff that looked like a Domino's car. And then we found the pizza transactions that goes with the story from Jeff about them being home around midnight, which where's that at? I'm still waiting on that shit because what? And then the Domino's boxes that were outside. But I don't think we saw anything from this. I guess we'd have to go in and look at Kaylee's, but they're probably all gone by now. I wonder if Eric's is gone. He might have his private, so his wife doesn't see stuff. Who knows? The interview was concluded. Interview was concluded. Okay. 22. We have Jeff Mooney with District 2. This is where, okay, Mike Mooney is now, I don't know if he was, oh, this is a different Mooney, but Mike Mooney. Okay, so this is Jeffrey Mooney up here, and then Mike Mooney. If you look at the Idaho State Police, like districts about who's in charge and like how the districts work, he's like the leader of District 2. At least he is now. I don't know if he was in 2022. Mike Mooney took digital photographs of the victims' vehicles located at 1122 King Road. What date was this? 2 weeks later, 11/28. They mess up with her name right here quite a bit. Is it Jake on like everything? Because it's supposed to be Jade. Yeah, look, Kaylee Jake. Kaylee Jake. Jesus Christ. Okay. This just says like they took photos of the cars. That's pretty much it. Is there pictures of it? No. All of the vehicles were unlocked except for the red Jeep Sahara Wrangler. That would be Ethan's. Wearing gloves, I breached the evidence tape seal on the front door of the residence, retrieved the keys to the Jeep, which were sitting on the stairs, and unlocked the Jeep. Once complete, I returned the Jeep keys to the residence and resealed the front door with evidence tape marked with my name and the date. Copies of the photographs were provided to the FBI to be used to determine what, if any, methods could be employed to download data from the vehicle's onboard computer hardware and/or software. Well, something that was downloaded from something had the defense wanting to keep Ethan's Jeep along with his golf clubs, which I always found pretty interesting. Okay, so now we have Raleigh with District 3. 20-year-old white female. Blank stated she was friends with Xana for 2.5 years and more recently with Ethan since he began dating Kernodle. Blank stated Kernodle would have a gathering every weekend or every other weekend, and she would regularly attend. Blank stated she knew who the other people at the house or the people who would usually attend the gatherings. Blank stated on November 3rd, 2022, she had gone over to Kernodle's apartment located at 1122 King Road in Moscow, Idaho. I can't stand how they call it an apartment because we know that it's not an apartment. But I guess they call it that because it's room leases, but it still sort of like isn't correct. Moscow had Idaho around 1 p.m. and was there for about 15 minutes. Blank stated everyone then left and went over to another apartment commonly referred to as the Whites for a pregame. This should have said November 13th. No, this should have said November 12th, 2022. Because this would be them talking about them going over to the Whites right before they all separated for the night. So this date's wrong. This date is wrong. Blank stated her friends and Kernodle then went to another friend's house named Blank. Blank and her friends then attended the football game, and Kernodle decided not to go. Following the game, Blank called Kernodle at approximately 7 p.m. Kernodle stated she and her roommates were at their apartment taking a nap and would decide later if they were going to go back out. Blank stated when Kernodle would have get-togethers, she would usually invite men from the Blank and the Blank fraternity house and girls from the Blank and Pi Phi sorority. Blank stated her friend group would also be invited. Blank stated it was usually the same people from each house that would come. Blank stated she knew Kernodle occasionally what? She stated she usually wasn't around when she would blank. That sounds like you're doing something, that somebody's doing something that you don't want to be around, which usually only leads to like a couple of things. They really keep like redacting a lot there. Blank stated she had heard rumors of Kaylee having a stalker, but only had heard about it after the murders. Blank said the back door was always kept unlocked because the front door had a code and would usually lock automatically. Blank stated she heard of other rumors that one of the roommates had taken the dog out and someone jumped out of a tree at them. Blank said she heard another rumor that the killer entered the back door and was wearing a mask. Blank stated after the football game, she went home and eventually fell asleep. Well, I think the thing with the dog probably was Kaylee, because now we're talking about the tree line situation. Unless the freak thought it was Kaylee and it was really one of the other blonde girls. And I mean, I hope this person actually had some sort of report taken on them and like something else happened there, because who's this psychopath living in the apartments behind that house? The house wasn't the problem. The environment was the problem. This is Powell. This was on 11/17/22, but he didn't make the report until 12/1. Go figure. Okay. "28-year-old male? Is this Cole again? Because it talks about them having classes together up here, like him and Maddie. Okay. They met while they both worked together at Blank approximately 5 years ago. Oh, maybe not Cole. Did they work somewhere together before? I don't think so. He had been roommates with Blank off and on for the past couple of years, but most recently a little less than a year. The other two roommates in the house were Blank and Blank, and Blank were a couple. Oh, we've heard this guy before. We've heard of this person before. He has never known Blank to have a girlfriend since they have known each other, but knows of a former girlfriend named Blank who he dated in high school. She now lives in Portland, Oregon. On November 12th, 2022, from approximately 9:30 to 10, he and Blank went to Mingles after attending a dart tournament at the Moose Lodge earlier in the day. Yeah, we did hear from this guy already. So why are they interviewing him again? Shortly after 11, they left Mingles and went to the Corner Club. Both he and Blank were drunk. He met with a girl named Blank while at the club around 11:30 and did not see Blank the rest of the night. He was unaware of who Blank was talking or hanging out with at the club. On November 13th, 2022, he got home around 1:24 a.m. and went to Blank's room and saw he was passed out. He was surprised to see him home so early because he normally shuts down the bar. He has known Blank to get flirty and handsy with girls when he gets drunk. He was unaware of Blank being kicked out of the corner club earlier that night. So this is one of Cole's roommates. Sunday evening, they talked about the incident, and he remembers Blank mentioning that he had a marketing class with one of the girls, Maddie Mogen. That's it. That's it. Okay. Okay. Number 25. This is Stinnett. Detective Sergeant Stinnett with District 1 now. 12/1 of 22. Oh. Okay. Receipts and archival CDs associated with the November 9th, 2022 purchase conducted by Kaylee Jade Goncalves at Blank. Refer to incident number 4706, Kaylee's purchase at Blank. Video footage of the purchase inside of the Blank shows Goncalves purchasing a fountain drink at approximately 19:03 hours and exiting the store. The most likely vehicle Goncalves departed in appeared to be a dark-colored mid-size SUV. Well, that was before. That was the day before she got the Range Rover, but also after she sold her own car. So whose vehicle was this? The vehicle was associated with the purchase of $60 in fuel on pump 1 at approximately 18:59. The credit card used to conduct the purchase of gas was associated to Blank Goncalves, so not Kaylee, a family member. The receipt and archival CDs were turned over to the Moscow Police Department. The investigation is ongoing. Whose vehicle is that? That's the day before she got the car. Okay. We have Detective Snell from District 1. And let's see. Requested to utilize a small unmanned aircraft system, this is a drone, to photograph the exterior of the residence surrounding the neighborhood located at 1122 King. On November 18th, 2022, Detective Timothy Snell, which is this person, was requested to utilize a small unmanned aircraft system to photograph the exterior of the residence and surrounding neighborhood located at 1122 King. ISP Detective Andy Hoddle assisted and was assigned to be an observer for the drone flight. We arrived at the residence at approximately 12:20 hours and met with Detective Jeffrey Talbot to be briefed on the locations to be photographed. I noted the temperature was 29 degrees Fahrenheit, winds approximately 3 miles per hour with gust up to 9, and visibility of 10 miles. I used an ISP-issued Phantom 4 registration number, blah, 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 to obtain aerial photographs. I concluded photographing at approximately 12:50 hours and exited the crime scene. Upon returning to the Moscow Police Department, I turned the media containing the photographs over to ISP Detective Hugh Powell to be downloaded and retained. End of report. Drone footage. Okay, so this is Detective Rowley with District 3. This was 12/3 of 22. This is a okay. The surveillance operation was conducted on a potential homicide suspect identified as someone with the date of birth ending in 2001. Is this the guy who they jacked a cigarette butt from to DNA test? 21-year-old white male suspect with a vehicle involved. Silver aluminum vehicle, 4-door, but doesn't say what it is. That's Eric. But Eric's not 21, so it's not Eric. Who is you? At approximately 11:55 p.m., surveillance units set up around the residence. Idaho State Police Detective C. Pohanka observed 3 vehicles parked at the residence. The following vehicles were observed: a silver whatever bearing Idaho license plate registered to somebody in Boise, a white something registered to somebody in Boise, and then a silver something registered to somebody in Boise. At approximately 5:43 p.m., Detective Pohanka observed an individual believed to be Blank leave the residence in the silver Blank. Blank took multiple routes in a random manner. maybe it's random to y'all, but maybe this person knew what they were doing. The routes ultimately took surveillance units in multiple circles, maybe not then, around the Boise area. That's like they thought they were being followed and they were just trying to mess with them. Interesting. At approximately 6:32 p.m., Detective Pohanka observed blank return to his house on blank drive. At approximately 8:11, Detective Pohanka observes an individual believed to be blank leave the residence. Surveillance units followed blank to a blank gas station located at blank in Boise. Idaho State Police Detective Sergeant Cortez observed what appeared to be blank go into the gas station. At 8:23, blank left the gas station and drove to a residence near Blake Street in Boise and parked on the street. Blank did not get out of the vehicle. Okay. At approximately 8:30, Sergeant Cortez observed an individual get into the blank with blank and leave together. Okay. What vehicle has a word and then like one letter after it? Because this is the second time that they've done that. Silver blank and then looks like one letter after it. Blank and then one letter after it. Or it could be a number after it. I don't know a vehicle that would have like just like a one digit or a one letter at the end of whatever it's called, but that's what I'm seeing here when it comes to what the car is called. Oh, Mazda. Oh, maybe that too. No, it looks longer. Could definitely be Mazda. RX-7s, I think that's too short. It's a 3. You can see it where? Oh, you're right. Boop. So this is probably a Mazda 3. Yeah. You're right. Mazda 3. At approximately 8:36 p.m., Blank and his passenger arrived back at the same blank gas station on blank. Sergeant Cortez observed Blank and the passenger exit the vehicle and go into the gas station. At approximately 8:41, Blank and his passenger left the blank. Why can't you just put the gas station? At approximately 8:46, surveillance units followed Blank to an apartment complex near the intersection of Blank in Boise. All occupants of the vehicle got out and went into the complex. At approximately 9:30, surveillance ended. Okay. On December 4th, 2022, Idaho State Police detectives set up surveillance on Blank in Boise, Idaho. At approximately 3:44, Detective Pohanka observed an individual believed to be Blank leave with his mom in the blank. Blank surveillance units followed them, or in the blank. Surveillance units followed them to the blank located at blank in Boise. Idaho State Police Detective Sergeant Hopkins followed Blank inside and attempted to positively identify him. Detective T. Hopkins identified someone who looked like Blank, but later was identified to be Blank's brother Blank. Who is this person? At approximately 4:17 p.m., Blank and his mother arrived back at their house. At approximately 4:58 p.m., Idaho State Police Trooper A. Weinstein observed an individual appearing to resemble Blank leave the residence in the silver vehicle. I should just say Mazda 3, but for just in case he is in the silver vehicle. Detectives followed the vehicle to the Blank gas station located at Blank in Boise, Idaho, and watched Blank pump gas into the Blank. Detectives followed Blank towards the Boise St. Luke's. Is it like a church or a hospital? Blank eventually turned up Warm Springs, where detectives eventually lost sight of him. Weren't they supposed to like black that out? They're not very good at this. Detective Sergeant Hoxie eventually found Blank and observed he had a passenger with him. At approximately 5:28 p.m., Blank arrived at Blank, where Sergeant Cortez observed a male get into the vehicle. At approximately 5:31, the vehicle left and arrived at the parking lot behind Blank, located at Blank in Boise. Sergeant Cortez observed everyone exit the vehicle and they went inside the gas station. At approximately 5:44, everyone got back in the vehicle and left the gas station. At approximately 5:48, detectives followed Blank to a house located at Blank in Boise, Idaho, where all occupants went inside, and then surveillance ended. What? Who is you? Who is you? Okay. Now it looks like we're going backwards to 1118. I just was talking about how in order these damn things were, and now they had just ruined that for themselves. They just ruined that. Okay. 1118-22. This is Detective Alderson. ISP Detective Matt Hinley and I conducted an investigation into this tip, which is tip 0247, and the information gathered from this investigation was relayed to the lead investigator. There's a female reporting party. Okay, there's 3 people reporting party label. Okay. Then we have 1 suspect that's 30. Boomy. They have 1 suspect that's 30 that they're talking about here. And they only have Kaylee's name as the victim that might be involved with the suspect? Interesting. I don't think this right here would say silver. This looks like a different thing. Okay. On November 18th, 2022, Detective Richard Alderson was assigned tip 0247. ISP Matt Hinley and I conducted the investigation on the tip, and information gathered from this investigation was relayed to the lead investigators. According to tip 0247, unblank. So this is like what, a description of the person? Because that's like not how you start a person's name. Date of birth, whatever, 1991. Had supposedly exhibited stalking behavior and an extreme fascination with females in the past at blank. According to the tip, blank changed his name to blank. Was this in the Pullman records? Was this in the Pullman records? For someone else, there's like 4 people mentioned in the Pullman records, and one of them used to work at WSU, and he got in trouble for all kind of shit. This sounds sort of like that. ISP Detective Hinley and I attempted to call the person providing the tip, blank, but she did not answer the phone. We went to the blank to see if anyone else had knowledge of blank or blank. The manager and a worker did recall blank, and they recall observing blank stalking behavior firsthand. They did not have any further knowledge of blank beyond these events at blank. So this was done at a location where people remember the situation. They also told us about a college-aged male and female who had come into the store asking for a K-bar and then left immediately after learning that blank did not carry them. Interesting. Is this Walmart? Because we sort of heard this in the Pullman records about Walmart, or was it MPD records about Walmart not carrying them? But I don't think the person that they were talking about that came in that they were describing was odd, didn't have a female with him. But they did say that the person was college aged. Detective Hinley and I went to blank's current employer, blank, to see if she was working, but she was not there. Interesting. So the girlfriend, or maybe the person that reported it, I guess. Detective Hinley and I went to blank, which was supposedly blank's last place of employment. Blank was no longer employed there. And when we talked to the owner of blank, he claimed he did not know of a blank. When we asked if he knew anyone named blank, blank said yes. Blank explained that blank had worked for him for approximately 2 months before terminating blank's employment because of his awkward social interactions with customers. Blank was not aware of any violent tendencies or stalking encounters from blank. According to blank, blank was simply an odd guy with awkward social skills. Blank called my phone and we spoke with her about the tip she provided. Blank confirmed blank's awkward and stalking behavior directed at her. Blank also informed us that blank had actually stalked another employee, blank, until blank had gotten a restraining order against him. So this dude's already been dealt with the cops before. Okay. Blank did not ever observe any violent behaviors or acts from blank, but blank had become more worried as blank had begun to purchase more knives as time progressed. After blank left employment at blank, she had not had any more interactions or issues with them. Blank was not aware of any relationships between blank and any of the victims. Before ending the conversation, blank advised us that she believed blank was aware of a potential stalking incident with one of the victims. Blank was unable to provide details, and she was asked to have blank contact us. Okay. Blank returned my voicemail and we spoke via phone. No, Dr. Hindley and I drove by the location of Blank's address provided by the tip, and it was not a residential area. So the girl didn't know exactly where this person lived, I guess, and gave the wrong place. Blank returned my voicemail and we spoke via the phone. Blank relayed to me similar observations as Blank. She added the fact that Blank had been driving a blank with a Washington license plate, and they had the plate number, it looks like. Blank's sister, Blank, also returned my voicemail and we spoke via phone. When asked about her knowledge of someone stalking one of the victims, Blank relayed that she had simply heard rumors of this occurring. Blank claimed she did not possess any actual knowledge of any stalking. After these interviews, we attempted to contact Blank via the cell phone number provided by the tip. The number was answered by someone claiming not to be Blank or Blank. The addresses provided by the tip and gathered during the investigation were also checked, and neither Blank nor his vehicle were located. The progress of the investigation of this tip was relayed to the lead investigators, and our investigative efforts were directed elsewhere. So you really didn't do much of anything because you didn't even talk to this person. They didn't even talk to this person. Okay. Now we have number 29. Mark Hewlett, District 5. They just had all of ISP involved. Incidents 228-2170. These are tips that were assigned to Detective Mark Hewlett on November 25th, 2022. Okay. I, Detective Mark Hewlett, with ISP District 5, spoke with Blank. The phone call occurred around 11:08 a.m. Blank's phone number is Blank. Blank has submitted a tip regarding a man she met on Tinder. Blank told me that she had met 2 times with Blank or Blank, fictitious names, at her apartment in Spokane, Washington. Blank advised that both meetings were short in duration. Blank advised that the male she met with was the same male as the male in the photos that she submitted with her tip. Blank advised that apart from her tip, she didn't have any further information that wasn't mentioned. I asked Blank if she believed that the male could have some behavioral or mental issues. Blank told me that the male seemed very sound and very intelligent. Blank advised that the last time she met with the male was Tuesday, November 22nd. Kelly advised that the male had told her that he owns Blank. A business? Is this a business? Note, incident 2170 was the tip that Spokane police officer Addix called in regarding Blank after he spoke with her. I advised Detective Schwecke of this information, and these incidents at my level are closed, and further interviews will take place in person. The original tip papers for the above tips were left with the Idaho State Police Detective Jake Schwecke. The tip papers contained Blank's personal information, and it would be passed to the in-person interviewer. Okay. This one's 12/6/22, same person. Are these the same numbers? Those look different. No, 2228 is still on here on this next one, but then it goes to 2216. Okay. Oh, now there's multiples. Okay. So this is about 2228, 2216, 2152, 2137, 2156, 2159, and 2081. All the tips. Incident 2216. On November 26, 2022, I called Blank, who had called in a tip. There was no answer, and I left a voicemail with my phone number. On the same day, Blank called me back and told me that what she had mentioned in her tip was that she had heard from her friend's granddaughters. Blank did tell me that she would try to get her friend to have her granddaughter call me to confirm it was firsthand knowledge or if the information had been rumor. On November 27th, 2022, around 16:38 hours, I called Blank to follow up regarding our previous conversation, and I left a voicemail. Later, the night of November 27th, Blank called back and told me that she hadn't spoken to her friend yet. I relayed this information to Detective Schwecke and advised him that Blank only had third-party information and that this incident would be closed. So you called to give a tip and then was like, well, actually, I'm going to have to check with somebody else first, and then I'll tell you. What the frick are you calling and bothering them for then? I swear, I don't like humans. It makes no sense. Incident 228-2170. On November 26, 2022, I called Blank, who had called in a tip regarding a man she met on Tinder. Okay, this was like the previous thing. I left a voicemail. Later the same day, okay, this is like the same damn thing. This is the exact same sentence, the exact same paragraph. It's all the exact same. Okay, incident 2125. On November 26, 2022, Detective Spencer Knudsen from District 5 and I went to blank located at blank in Moscow. The assistant manager blank was present and allowed Detective Knudsen and I permission to view their video footage. The view from a camera that showed White Avenue revealed no vehicles that matched the suspect vehicle. We also reviewed the video for the camera that shows Mountain View Road. There were no vehicles that matched the suspect vehicle present. The incident can be closed. Okay. Because it looks like at this point they're looking for silver. Does it not at this point? Sound like they're looking for a silver vehicle? Because everything that they've said so far has been silver. Eric's car, this guy that they're surveilling, silver. Interesting. Okay. Incident 2137. On November 26, 2022, I called the blank. Okay. To set up a time to pick up their surveillance video. There was no answer, and I left a message. Later, the same day, Detective Knudsen and I went to blank, located at blank in Moscow. A sign on the management door advised that the office is open Monday through Friday. On November 28th, Detective Knudsen and I went to blank and met with blank. We looked at the only camera at the front of the store. Blank advised that this camera shows the crosswalk area directly in front of the front door and advised that there weren't any other views. This information was reported to Detective Schwecke and this incident was closed. Okay. Incident 2156. On November 26, 2022, I called the phone number on the tip and left a voicemail regarding setting up a time to retrieve the video surveillance. On November 28, 2022, I spoke with blank on the phone. Blank advised that he checked his video surveillance for the needed date and times and that it didn't show any traffic on the highway past his business. I relayed this information to Detective Roberts and this incident was closed. Incident 2081. On November 26, 2022, I called the phone number on the tip. There was no answer, and I left a voicemail. This was to confirm whether the caller had been able to upload his video footage using the link that he had been provided. On November 28, 2022, around 8:32 a.m., I spoke with blank, advised that he advised that he was able to upload his video to the FBI link. I relayed this information to Detective Roberts, and this incident is closed. Incident number 2159. On November 26, 2022, I was able to get in contact with blank, who was over the security camera system at blank, located at blank in Moscow. Blank advised that he will contact the store and let them know that we would be coming to look at video footage. Detective Knudsen and I went to blank. We were advised that they were unable to log into their program and to come back on Monday, November 28th, to get the footage. On November 28th, 2022, they went back. We met with blank, the store manager, and she allowed us to look at the surveillance footage. I downloaded 2 small videos of white passenger cars that were driving north. I turned the USB drive over to Detective Schwecke, and this incident is closed. Incident 2200. On November 26th, I was assigned this incident by Detective Schwecke. The caller is anonymous. I called the phone number on the tip and left a message. The call was made November 26th at 2:09 p.m. On the same date, at approximately 7:02 p.m., I had a missed call from the phone number attached to this incident. I called the phone number back at on November 27th at 11:10 a.m. and left a voicemail. On November 27th, 2022, around 5:41 p.m., the anonymous tip caller returned my phone call. This person advised that blank was very close to the victims and survivors and that she had previously been at the residence the homicides occurred at, but left prior to. This person provided me with the phone number for blank's stepmom, blank. This caller wanted to remain anonymous. On November 28th, 2022, around 9:10 a.m., I called the phone number for blank and left a blank. Blank provided me with blank's phone number. On November 28th, 2022, around 9:34 a.m., I called blank. During the conversation, I wrote down her date of birth, her address, and phone number. I told blank that a detective from Boise would reach out to her to set up an in-person interview. Blank was very willing to speak and help. I provided Detective Schwecke this information, and this incident is closed on my end. The information will be passed along for an in-person interview. Incident 2528. On November 26, 2022, I was assigned this incident by Detective Schwecke. This tip is regarding a blank. Okay. A photo of a male with a beard was at the grub truck in Moscow around the proximate times that the victims were also at the grub truck. The male in the photo had a large knife on his hip. On November 27th, 2022, at approximately 11:40 a.m., Detective Knudsen and I conducted an interview with Blank at his residence in Pullman, Washington. During the interview, Blank advised that he had interviewed for a job at Blank on November 9th, 2022, and hadn't been back to Blank since. Blank advised that he doesn't go out to the bars, and when asked about the grub truck, he advised that he didn't know what that was. But you were apparently in the footage. Blank advised that he does not carry a large knife on him and proceeded to show us a small pocket knife that he had on his person. Blank advised that he had a few other larger collection knives. I saw 2 of the knives, and Blank advised that the other one was a sword. Blank is approximately blank and around blank plus pounds. He was not a match for the person who was in the Grubhub photos. So then why did you go and mess with this guy? How did y'all get his information? This tip was regarding a blank, a photo of a male with a beard at the Grubhub. Okay, so if only a photo of this person was sent in, how did y'all get his address to go bother him in Pullman? He was not a match for the person who was at the Grubhub photos. I reported this information to Detective Schwecke that blank was not a match of the male in the photo and that he did not match the description of the suspect. This incident was closed. That one was a little bit confusing, but okay. Incident 1345. On November 26, 2022, I was assigned this incident by Detective Schwecke. This tip was in reference to a few social media accounts regarding photo timestamps. Nothing else was requested. On November 27, 2022, I reviewed the requested material and nothing of importance was noted. This information was reported to Detective Schwecke and this incident was closed. Okay. Okay. Incident 3164. On November 27, 2022, I was assigned, I'm going to stop reading that same damn sentence because we know Detective Schwecke is the one doing all this shit. The tip was in, okay. We're going to highlight this. This is creepy as F. Okay. This is creepy as F. I want to see this tip. I'm going to put in a request to see tip number 3164. I was assigned this incident. This tip was in poem form, and a GPS coordination was provided for a location to check out. Detective Knudsen and I went to the coordinates provided, and it was an empty, muddy field. There were no recent footprints or tire marks. I reported this incident. Poem form. That's what I said. That's what I said. That's creepy. Oh my God, really? There's one? There's a 4chan poem about GPS coordinates? Why does that not shock me? I never saw it. I'll have to look for it. Wow. Okay. Incident 0775. On November 27th, 2022, I was assigned this incident by, I said I was going to stop reading that. This tip was to obtain video footage from a blank who owns a store at blank in Moscow. Okay. I called blank and left a voicemail on November 27th at 12:45 p.m. On November 28th, 2024, I called blank and left a voicemail. Later the same day at noon, I called and left another voicemail. On this voicemail, I provided the FBI video link so that blank could upload his video, and then this was reported and closed. Incident 2041 on November 27, 2022. There was information regarding video footage from blank in Moscow. The caller was blank. On the same date, I contacted blank. Blank advised that the tip wasn't to obtain video footage, but to let police know that he was on his way to the airport on the day of the homicides and was near the intersection of Taylor Avenue and Blake Avenue and didn't see anyone out or about. Who gives a shit what you were doing? What are you calling for? You didn't see anyone driving around? You didn't see anything suspicious? You just want them to know that you were on the way to the airport? and didn't see anything. But he was there between 3:55 and 4 o'clock in the morning. You're a weirdo. What you calling them for? You're a weirdo. Incident 2813, November 27, 2022. Phone information from one of the occupants involved in the homicide investigation showed them using their blank app on November 12, 2022. So one of the ones that were deceased or one of the ones that were still alive. On the same day, Detective Knudsen and I went to the blank location at blank in Moscow. We met with blank, who was the manager for that day. Blank said that he didn't have access to the video. I provided him my business card. On the same day, blank called me and advised that he sent me an email with a link to submit a video request to the corporate offices of blank. Blank advised Detective Schwecke of the link. I advised Detective Schwecke of the link, and he told me to email him the link and he would forward it on to those who would need the video. The link was emailed and then it was closed. I wonder what this is. Using what app? There's so many businesses with apps. So many. So it could be anything. Incident 2519. On or around November 28th, 2022, at around 2 p.m., ISP Detective Powell and I conducted an interview with blank in his apartment located at blank in Moscow. During the interview, blank had a calm demeanor. Blank appears to be blank and weighs around blank pounds. They're even like taking out like any descriptions whatsoever. Blank advised that the day of November 12th, he was at home most of the day and took his dog out a few times to use the bathroom. Who are you? I wonder if this is the one that saw the door. I guess we'll find out here soon. Blank advised that the day, took his dog out a few times. The night of November 12th, he was home alone with his dog and advised that he went to bed around 11:30 p.m. Blank advised that he doesn't go out to the bars often unless he's invited by his friends. Blank advised that on Sunday morning of the 13th, he woke up around 8 or 9 a.m. He advised that a shelter in place came into effect around 1 p.m. He advised that he walked his dog down the road past the victim's home, which is where his dog uses the bathroom. Blank advised that he walked past the homicide house and didn't notice anything off about the home, and he believed that the door was closed. So this isn't the same person. Blank advised that later the 13th, between 4 and 6 p.m., he left to go do laundry. Blank advised that his first contact with law enforcement was around an hour after the shelter in place went into effect, so around 2 p.m. Blank advised that after doing laundry, he stayed home for the rest of the evening. Blank advised that he is a blank at the U of I. Blank advised that he knew that people on social media and on the internet were accusing him of the crime. Blank advised he would be willing to provide a DNA sample to clear his name. Blank advised that he didn't know any of the victims. On 12/5/22, I downloaded the recording. Who the frick is you? Who is this? Who the frick is this? You can't have a dog in the frat house. I don't think it's Loach. You can't have pets. Did Enon Harsh have a dog? Who the frick is Jeremy? Oh. I think you're right. Jeremy was a redheaded guy again. Ooh, another ginger. He's technically, I guess, another possibility of who could have been driving around, huh? I guess I need to see what kind of vehicle that he had. I mean, I never thought he was involved in anything. I felt bad for the guy because, damn, they really, like, messed him up a lot. This is probably Jeremy. I think this is Jeremy, the redheaded guy in the very beginning where, they were calling his grandma, his mom's house. Like, they were going off on this guy's family for him doing a single freaking interview on the news. Jeremy. Yeah, it's got to be Jeremy. Okay. On or about November 29th, 2022, Detective Schwecke forwarded an email tip to Detective Edgley regarding blank's employees who were potentially working the night of November 12th, 2022. That would probably be MPD's employees. Banfield. Detective Edgley forwarded the email to me for completion. On the same day, I was in contact with the following: blank, 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 and blank. Instead of speaking with blank, I spoke with blank, who advised that blank is his fiance and he does blank under her account name. Are these drivers? All parties involved advised that they do not have a dash camera on their vehicles. They're drivers for a business. All further advised that none were in the area at or around the time of the incident. Further, all advised that they did not observe anything suspicious that stood out to them. This information was relayed to Detective Schwecke. Is this Domino's? D-O-M-I-N-O. I don't think there's any S. I bet you this is Domino's. I bet you this is Domino's. I could be wrong. Incident 4465. On or about November 30th, 2022, around 10 a.m., I spoke with blank to inquire if any of the blank had dash cameras. Why can't we see that? Dumb. Blank told me that there aren't any dash cameras on the vehicles. Blank further advised that due to short staffing, the area where the homicides took place and the neighborhood around the area hadn't had a blank for around 3 months. This information was passed on. I'm sorry. What does short staffing have to do with whatever could be going on in that neighborhood for the past 3 months? I don't know what this could mean. I don't understand what this could mean. Thanks for the $9.99, Lady Di. I've got something to say. Wait, this person said the door was closed and the other dog walker said it was open much earlier. Did the roomies get up and close it around 8 or 9? Well, what time did he say that he went and did that? Let's see. Okay, well, it says after... Okay, so it doesn't say anything about him taking his dog out before 1 p.m. on that date. Sunday morning on the 13th, he woke up between 8 and 9. Blake advised that a shelter in place came into effect around 1. He advised he walked his dog down the road past the victim's home, which is where the dog uses the bathroom. Blake advised he walked past the homicide house and didn't notice anything. Oh, okay, so yeah, this would have been before the 911 call, before 1 p.m. Well, this says he believed the door was closed. But if there was nothing out of the ordinary, then maybe he didn't look. But this is still the same time as the other person, because in the MPD records, it's a person that met up with them at the stadium that said that they saw it open. So maybe he didn't notice, or maybe it was open and closed again. I know that regardless of what they tried to say, the book and the Amazon series has all three of them, Josie, Emily, and Hunter, in different variations claiming that the door was open and the girls were outside when they got there. So there's that part. But yeah, could have been both. I guess because it's not like completely electronic, there's no log on the PIN code thing, huh? Because it's just like you put a PIN code in. What I want to know is what the frick this means. Like, I feel like this is probably what somebody else said in here, like maybe Uber or DoorDash, because it says that they do whatever they're doing under his fiance's name, which anyone who's ever, had food delivered from these damn delivery services know that it's either not who they say it is, or it is who they say it is, but the car is full of people. That seems to be like a 99% situation. But what is this? Due to short staffing, something in the area hadn't taken place in 3 months. What in the frick could that have possibly have been? I have no idea what that can mean. Okay, now we're on supplement number 31. This is probably honestly where I'm going to end this, because the next one is supplement 32. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to end this at 31. In the morning, I'm going to drop 32 by itself so that whenever we start back off again, we're back in order. And my schedule just, like everything with my schedule has been pretty much concreted now. So I can go live twice a day on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So I'm going to have y'all put some information in the chat here in a second, because I want to know the majority, which version of time is better, earlier or later. My bottom time is going to always be the same. My evening time will always be somewhere between 6:45 and 8:15, just depending on what I'm doing with the kids and stuff like that. But the other timing, I want to try to keep that one as consistent as possible. And I know that a lot of people that watch me are in other time zones, other countries. So try to figure out like which time would be best for that. That's what we're going to try to figure out here later on whenever we're done with this part. Let's finish this one real quick and then we'll get to that. This is supplement number 31. This is from Detective Sergeant Stinnett with District 1. This is a telephone interview with somebody. "20-year-old white male." Nope, white female. "An acquaintance." Then it also says acquaintance again, and then acquaintance again, and then acquaintance again. And then boyfriend. So there's just like a shit ton of people this person's talking about. This is a little weird. Okay. Acquaintance, relationship, acquaintance. Sex unknown. So it doesn't know what. Oh, it says male right here. Okay. Lewiston. Alrighty. Then another male that's a boyfriend of somebody's. And then another friend from Meridian. There's a father right here from Dalton Garden. That town sounds familiar. Is that where they put the remains of the house? In Dalton Garden? That sounds familiar. Okay. Then we have a 45-year-old white male, 20-year-old white male, 21-year-old white male, a fifth witness, a sixth witness, both females, a seventh witness, a female, an eighth witness, a female, a ninth one, also a female, and then a 10th one that's a male. Holy shit. What is this? Okay. On November 28th, 2022, at approximately 7:44, I, Detective Sergeant Jess Stinnett of the Idaho State Police, was contacted by telephone by blank, date of birth 1976. Blank was a previous blank of mine in Meridian, Idaho. Blank asked if I was part of the homicide investigation in Moscow. He asked because he had received a phone call from a person who claimed to be with the FBI. Maybe he worked for another company, like another department, sounds like maybe. Blank was somewhat skeptical because the number returned to a Detroit, Michigan area code. He contacted me because his blank attended the University of Idaho and may have information about persons who were associated with the homicides. So are you calling because somebody that you know might have information, or are you calling about this weird-ass phone call? Blank asked if I could reach out to his blank and talk to her about what information she may have. On December 2nd, 2022, at approximately 11:05, Detective Tollison and I conducted a recorded telephone interview with blank at this number. Blank was attending the University of Idaho and was living in Moscow. She was the blank of her sorority, blank. Is this the president or the treasurer? Some sort of classification, some sort of label. Blank was classmates with Xana. She was not close to Xana, but knew her primarily through her ex-boyfriend. Is this the one that got kicked out of the school? Because they make a huge deal out of Ethan and Xana becoming official in the book and in the series, like a huge deal. Last year, while she was dating blank, she would visit Kernodle's old apartment on a weekly basis. She still saw Kernodle around campus and town, but she did not hang out with her like she previously did. She did not go to the current apartment, 1122 King Street, because blank was there on a regular basis. I'm sorry? She had a blank was a member of the blank fraternity. So this person didn't go and hang out with Xana at her house because a guy was there on a regular basis, and it's not Ethan. Is this a person that this person doesn't like for some reason? Blank described seeing Ethan at the old apartment when she was there with Blank last year. She did not believe Kernodle and Chapin were officially dating at the time. This statement is crazy. I want to know who the frick this is. Blank did not know any person Kernodle was dating last year. You just said that you knew her ex-boyfriend. What are you talking about? She did know one of Blank's friends, and fraternity brothers had a crush on Kernodle. The individual's name was Blank 2021. I bet you it's Beriocha. Bet you that's who that is. But then again, I don't know. She was not aware of anyone stalking or having issues with Kernodle. She was not close to Ethan. She knew him from last year while she would visit at the old apartment with Blank. She primarily saw Chapin at Blank parties. She did not know Maddie Mogen or Kaylee Goncalves very well. She described going to Mogen's house one time last year. She reiterated she didn't go to the new apartment because Blank would go there frequently. Who do you not want to be around? Like, if you're not going to see your friend because somebody who is not her boyfriend at the time is there constantly and that's making you stay away, who is it that's giving you this vibe to where you don't want to be there because this person is there all the time? Who is it? She knew Blank through her roommate who played Blank with Blank. She saw her at parties, but did not have a relationship with her. She described Blank last year. Blank expressed concern because she had seen Blank at parties. What is this? Who is this about? She did not know Blank personally. She did know her sorority sister Blank. She described Blank and Blank being close friends. She knew Blank, date of birth 2002, from hanging out last year at the old apartment, but did not know much about her. She recalled visiting Xana's old apartment last year because a friend she was close with, Blank, lived next door. She described Blank and Kernodle having a close friendship. She stated Blank was no longer at the university because she graduated last year. However, Blank could have been sent a text about the night of the homicide. The text was a screenshot describing two of the other roommates locking their doors because they heard someone rummaging around. Remember how I said I thought it was really odd that Bethany's drawer, her like dresser drawer, had a broken door and a messed up drawer on it? We also heard that Dylan claims to have at some point said that it sounded like people were looking for something. More than one person was looking for something and looking around, rummaging around upstairs. So we have that verbiage again. Blank detailed the day of November 12, 2022. The University of Idaho football team was having a senior night. This was a big game and many people attended. There were many students pre-gaming before the game. She was not certain, but she assumed all of the victims attended the game. That is not true. At approximately 10:45 p.m., Blank went to Blank Kia Fraternity. Oh, yeah, I forgot. They don't know how to spell Chi. This is Sigma Chi fraternity party. At approximately 11 to 11:30 p.m., she briefly observed Kernodle and Chapin for about 10 or 15 minutes. She observed Xana and Ethan on the upper floor of the lodge. She described them on the upper floor, looking down, observing the party. She recalled hearing a couple songs play when she lost track of Xana and Ethan. The Sigma Chi party ended at 1 a.m. No, it didn't. And if it did, then they didn't leave at 1 o'clock in the morning. Hunter Johnson even said that before they took off, they were in his room. Ethan and Xana were in his room. And it was after 1 for sure. I don't believe what David B said about the 1:40 thing, because that would put them at being at the house around like 1:50, 1:45, 1:50. And we already know that's a damn lie. So the fact we still don't have this is disgusting. After the Sigma Chi party, she went to a party at the Blank. She was at the party until approximately 4 o'clock in the morning. And you didn't see a car do anything? She described the Blank as being on the same road as Kernodle's apartment. When she left the apartment, she was walking and ran into one of her good friends, Blank. She believed Blank had been at Kernodle's apartment earlier in that evening. Who was it? Who did you meet up with at 4 o'clock in the freaking morning at the damn street where all this happened at? I'd love to know. Her interaction with Blank occurred at the Blank. When she was walking down from the apartments, Blank was talking to a group of people. She believed Blank stayed at the Blank when she left. I hate all these damn redactions. She had seen what she described as Snapchat videos Blank took at Kernodle's apartment earlier that evening. She provided Blank's phone number. Blank was going to provide Blank a ride back to Boise when she went home. Who are these people? Blank added Kernodle was very close to the blank. Long name. She believed we should talk to her ex-boyfriend blank. He frequented Kernodle's apartment regularly. She did not know if he was at the apartment the night of the homicides. She provided his phone number. She was not aware of any strange people who may have been around campus. Most of the parties are policed by sober bros who are fraternity members who remain sober. She described a social media app called Yik Yak, which is used to post a variety of information. The book says that the two people that were involved with the University of Idaho paper, I think it's called the Argonaut, they were watching Yik Yak and stuff about Emma Bailey and substances and it being some sort of big, huge thing was already going on within like 2 or 3 hours of the Vandal alert. Emma Bailey's name being mentioned was really interesting. And I'm really kind of wondering if maybe she might be talking about her up here somewhere. It kind of crossed my mind a little bit. Right here. This statement right here. It sort of crossed my mind about Emma Bailey. So whenever it mentioned Yik Yak, that was interesting. The posts are anonymous and can be seen by everyone on the app within a 5-mile radius. Parties are sometimes posted, but she did not know if anything was posted about 1122 King Street the night of the homicide. She stated many of the students used Snapchat and had active Snap Maps. However, she did not see Kernodle or Chapin on Snap Maps from that night. Well, Dylan did. She described the apartment's blank, Moscow, Idaho. The apartment was nicknamed blank. Is that the Whites? She believed many people who lived at the apartment were close to Kernodle. She believed the FBI had contacted individuals at the apartment already. And then the interview ended. On December 5th, 2022, Detective Tollison contacted Blank. Blank told Detective Tollison he was not at King Street Apartments the night of the homicide. I contacted Blank to clarify if she knew for certain Blank was at Kernodle's the day of the homicide. She told me she was mistaken. Blank had been at Blank apartment, which was in the same area. So some guy that she doesn't like, that she's trying to get in trouble, wasn't even there, is what this sounds like. The recording of the interview, text message correspondence, and notes were turned over to Moscow Police Department. Now here we are on 32. So this is where we end it. Oh, wait, I got to save it first. Just going to get rid of all my highlight. Okay, now it's saved. I don't know who the frick that is. I didn't go over there. I didn't go over there because this person was constantly over there. That's insane. Thank you for the 199. Hunter Johnson? I don't think so. I mean, maybe. Maybe. He's there all the time. But that's wild. Who was making you so uncomfortable? I mean, it could have been Hunter. There could have been a lot of other people that were over there all the time too. We just know Hunter the most because they have tried to hammer in them being besties this whole time. But then I really found it really strange that when Maisie is describing people in Ethan's life, Hunter Johnson is not the best friend. And you would think that Maisie would know who Ethan's actual best friend was. But the way that Maisie describes Hunter is like an acquaintance of an acquaintance, like a third wheel type thing. Like they really only know each other technically because their girlfriends are friends is sort of like how it sounds. But then again, not really, because Hunter Johnson was apparently, actually, I don't even know how true this shit is. Because this is in the book, this piece of crap lying ass book about how Ethan was considering going to the same fraternity as Hunter Johnson because he liked him. Thought he was a solid dude. And that's the same part of the book that talks about how Ethan knew whatever choice he made was technically also a choice for Hunter. And that's why he just went with the better one. I don't know. I don't understand why there's like full sentences redacted. I don't understand why we're not just like getting initials. I don't understand why they have to block out this dude was 5'10", 180 pounds. I don't know. I don't know. That's true. They are so blurred that they're practically useless. So I don't know what they're going to end up doing. All I know is that they could easily fix the body cam if they wanted to. I mean, there's like so many different ways to edit things to where they don't have to show us what they don't want to show us. Like, I get that they maybe don't want to like show full on bodies. Cool. We need to see where the sheath was when Nunez was there. Then we need to see what Payne's body cam looks like, and not the one from after 4 o'clock, the one from before 2:40 something, the one that we've been lied about the entire time. That's the one that we need, because it technically would have been somewhere before noon. No, somewhere between noon and 1, because Fry knew by 1 o'clock whenever Tyson Barrett was giving him a call about what was going on. And something about that sheath, bro, something about that sheath made Fry turn down help offered by Chief Jenkins for the first time in years. Years. I don't think so either. I don't think so either. Yeah, I read the thing at the very beginning of the live. She never went to any freaking hearings. Never cared about any of the evidence. She never looked at anything. She never asked a single question. And she just went along with whatever they told her. But now she wants to file something in court. I don't really quite understand that, but okay. I don't know. I think there's like a... I don't know the limitation. I don't even know. Okay, so for Pullman, I can't. This is the only example I can really give you because I don't know the law in Idaho. I can only give you a reference for what Pullman said. So there's a letter. Y'all remember that break-in from 2021 with the little short Hispanic guy that ended up being the idiot, right? That Brian's name was only even added to because the situation and because of the knife. Like, it literally was only on there for because it had nothing to do with anything, and Plunder caused all kind of crazy shit for no reason. Y'all remember that? The girl that actually called in the report, she was sent a letter to her mom's address that she ended up not getting. So in the thing, it has like the actual letter that was sent from the attorney's office, and it said, hey, a case that you were a victim in, we're going to have to release the records because people are asking for the records, and under this law we have to give it. If you want personal information or certain things redacted or not in there regarding your own personal self, you have X amount of time to file this form or contact our office or some shit like that. And then they would, I guess, like oblige to whatever she didn't want out there, I guess. So whenever it comes to like this kind of stuff, I didn't really think that they could really file anything unless there was a minor involved. But I guess that really wouldn't be the case anyway, because they already have so many stipulations for things with minors. So I don't know. But I do know that in the report, it said, not the report, but in the press release, it says that Megan Marshall found nothing that had been released to be any sort of like invasion of privacy, but that when it comes to the body cams, that could be different. They need to show something. There's ways around all this shit. They need to show something. It's so stupid. Absolutely dumb. Absolutely stupid. Okay. So for Tuesdays and Thursdays, I'm going to keep like the night lives that we're doing. I see your eyeball. Hold on a second. Okay. My son, Don. So, okay. Story time. Why I can see, yes, you can have a starburst. Why I can see his eyeballs, okay? When we first moved in, for some reason, the people didn't give me like that little lock key that you have for like your interior doors, right? So we left. It was like literally within the first week. So we didn't know anybody. We don't know anyone. We don't know nothing, right? Dawn messed with the doorknob to my room to where whenever we shut the door so that the dogs didn't come in here, because all of my computer equipment is in here, it locked. We didn't know that till we got home. So then I get home and I'm trying to get into my room and it's locked and we don't have a key. So at that point in time, because I wasn't going to pay like $300 for a locksmith to come out, I took a hammer and beat the shit out of my doorknob until it came out of my door. Okay? The crazy part is this. Hold on. I have had the doorknob in my room since December of 2023, and I still have not put the damn doorknob on the door. So I don't have a lock. There's just a hole where the doorknob is. So when he wants my attention, he just goes and puts his face into the hole. Yeah. Here it is. And actually, bro, this is the second lock. Let me tell you. This is the second one I bought. Because the first one I bought, I opened it. It took like 8 months, but I opened it. And I went to go put it on, and then something happened and I had to stop. And then somehow or another, like parts for it just disappeared. So I was like, screw it. I threw the rest of it away, bought another one, and I still haven't put it up. Welcome to my life. Welcome to my life. Yeah, I wasn't paying shit. I was like, nah, hammer. My little stubby too. It's got like a little stub nose hammer, like that big. It's been off ever since. Whatever. So that's why the dogs can just come in here because there's no handle. So whenever Lily or Boomer wants in here, they just hop on the door and it pops open and then they jump on my bed. It all worked. Okay. So back to what we were talking about. Okay. Tuesdays and Thursdays, I'm going to start doing for sure lives every Tuesday and Thursday night. Unless there's something that happens and I have to cancel it, it's no longer going to be just lives on Thursday night as the norm. It's going to be Tuesdays and Thursdays. I should have been doing that all along because it's in the evening hours and there's no reason for me not to have been doing that this whole time. But when it comes to my schedule change, I want to start doing, and I don't know why I want to do 2 on Tuesday and 2 on Thursday. But that's just how I ended up like moving stuff around. Whatever. So what I want to do it like early. So this is the question. Thinking in my time zone, which is central for Texas. Okay, let's keep that in mind. 11 a.m. or 3 p.m. Maybe 2. Considering the fact that somewhere between 6 and 8, I'm going to be live in the evening. I don't know whether I should do 11 o'clock in the morning or somewhere between like 2 and 3 in the afternoon on top of the evening live. See, 11 is probably where I was going. I think 11 is probably what I'm going to do. Yeah. Because then there's more time in between. Yeah, that's probably what's going to happen. Because today is Monday, right? Yeah. Okay. So then tomorrow we'll start that. Tomorrow I'll go live at 11. How's that going to work with that other part? So I guess I'll get the clip for the supplement 32 ready to go, and I'll probably just release it at like 8 o'clock in the morning tomorrow morning. so that it's out there before we start the live at 11, because when we start the live at 11, we're going to have to start on supplement number 33. So I think that's going to work. I think that's going to work. Okay. Maybe eventually I'll put this on. Yeah. Okay. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and get off of here. Thank you for the super stickers and the super chats and the gifted memberships and the people that joined in. Our members only live is going to be August 25th because it's the last Monday of the month. And the Monday after that is September the 1st. So August 25th. And I'll be giving away another shirt, hat, or cup at the member giveaway. I sent the tracking. I got the tracking number finally for the last one over this weekend and sent that off today. Well, the shirt's been off, but finally sent off the tracking number today. I'm still going through the book. Still got to finish the freaking book. So we're still doing that. But I'm going to go ahead and get off of here, switch this coffee that I really never drank any of for some chamomile lavender tea and relax for a little while. Because even though it's really not a lot, it's frustrating. Because it's a lot, but it's not a lot at the same time. Lily. Boomer always has to have the bed, and Lily, for some reason, always has to be on the floor. And right now, she's laying her head on my camera stand. What are you doing? Okay. All right, you guys. Y'all have a good night. Sleep tight. Don't let the bugs bite. Let me go ahead and pop this thing on here real quick. Please do not forget to leave a like on your way out and subscribe to the channel if you are not subscribed already. All right, you guys. See y'all.